Skyjack Morgan.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
1, 2, 3. Get on up and get down with Skyjack Morgan. One, two, three. Get on up and get down with Skyjack Morgan.
Okay, here we go.
You don't want to get mixed up with a guy like me. I'm a loner, Daddy. A rebel.
Lies on the horizon. Sky is blue, no denying. News
Yes.
morning, bright and early new dawn.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do this. We're at war. We're at war. There's no time to waste. We're at war. War? You mean armed conflict? I mean war, Barbarella. Ba news. All right, everybody. Well, everybody, welcome to the show. It's a beautiful day in America. Okay, I'm so glad you're here. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. My name is Skyjack Morgan. I'm an independent news and culture commentator, free speech and critical thinking advocate, and coffee addict. Woo! It's hot. It's hot. It's hot coffee. It's hot coffee. It's too hot for me to drink yet, but I'm getting there. How are you doing? What's the deal and how you feeling? You feeling good? We're back at war. You knew it was going to happen. We're back. America's back, baby. America's back, baby. We're going to get in some endless wars. That's how you know America's back, because we're going to be in endless wars. That's how you know we're back, baby. That's how you make America great. Remember when America was great and we were in constant war and America was never at peace at home nor abroad? Remember those days? That was good times. Good times. Remember when there were riots in the streets and there were National Guard marching through and there were shootouts between police and firemen and civilians? And remember that? Remember the LA riots? That's when America was great, right? Remember that? Remember the Detroit riots? Remember the Watts riots? Chicago riots. That's what we need, man. We're going back. We're going back, baby. We're back, baby. We're back. America's back. I think that it's a great time to be alive because we get to see the revolution. Front page news. We're right there, right in the front seat. This is the Morning Sky Show. It's the #1 news reaction show on YouTube in YouTube history. I know. Well, that was a loud applause. Jeez Louise, guys. That was loud. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of the love that you give. Sky City Rebels, special thanks to you, and special thanks to all of our moderators for being here. You are what makes this world go round. It's a lot of stuff going on today. Big day for me. I got the movers coming by. It feels real when the movers start kicking the tire. When the movers come to your house and they're like, yeah, we're gonna take that. You're gonna take that. You're gonna take it. You're gonna take it. They're gonna do a walkthrough so they can tell me exactly how much money they're gonna charge me, which is exciting. I don't know if you ever moved across the country before. I have, but I've never actually had movers. I've had movers once before, but not to go across the country. When I've traveled across the country or across the globe, I put everything that I want to keep in boxes and then I mail them, and then I just hope that they get there when I get there, and they do usually. It works out just fine. A couple things broken, and I just that's the way it goes. That's how I've done it in the past. I don't know how you guys do it, but I've always been kind of a minimalist, and I'm still a minimalist. I don't have much stuff, but too much stuff to move by myself. So, things like a TV, I can't move a TV. I can't move this whole studio by myself. So I need people now. People are going to help me out, and I hope that you'll stick with me. It'll be a fun time. I'll bring you along for the ride. It'll be great. Better hope the movers don't steal your shit. Well, I do hope that. I do hope the movers do not steal my shit. Great point. Why would they steal my shit though? Like, they're insured. I guess if they just wanted the what would they steal? What would they steal? What the hell are they gonna steal? Better hope they don't steal my shit. Why you got, why you gotta be so negative, buddy? Come on, virtual reality, me. Why you gotta be so negative? People are not gonna steal my shit. Most people aren't gonna steal your shit. What are they gonna steal? What are they gonna steal? My comic book collection? They gonna steal my comic book collection? Take it. Try to get rid of those comic books for years. I just can't bring myself to part with them. If someone stole them from me, when my house got robbed, they didn't take the comic books. They took my guitars. So now I only have one guitar because I'm not going to start another guitar. I'm not going to start a guitar collection again. You know what I mean? I had a bunch of guitars. Somebody stole them all. Now I got one guitar because when I went back, I'm like, well, I'm not going to stop playing guitar. So now I just have the one. And I think about a lot of times buying another guitar. I own another guitar far, far away, but my friend's watching it for me. It just sits in a box somewhere far, far away. Is McConnell dead? Yes, McConnell is dead. We already know that, right? McConnell is dead. Make a list. I don't like lists. That's what Nazis do. Nazis make lists. No, I'm just joking. Look, I'm not going to look, the realtor that I'm dealing with, she's worked with these guys before. I tell you what, they specialize in moving military families. And I think that's a great place to start because military families are always moving across the country and everything, and they get like a specific stipend. And these guys work. That's what they do. That's mostly what they do is move military. And I feel like you don't really probably going to steal from the military. I just think that you're probably not stealing from military families. I don't know. I feel that. So I'm hoping that my mover is legit. I'm feeling good about it. It's a little bit weird to have someone come through your house and just kind of like, but this whole process has been weird. Having people come into your space and be like, this could be better. Maybe you should charge me less if this happens. Goddamn. Yes, that's what happens. Who said you're a mod? I didn't say you're a mod. You want to be a mod, Johnny? Johnny, are you saying you want to be a mod? Is that what you want? OMG, that's who stole from us regularly. I moved many times in a military family. Really? Life, that's who stole from you was the movers? What'd they steal? What's to steal? Plates? I'm not even bringing any plates. I'm going to steal my desk? What are you going to steal? I'm going to bring my PCs in my own car. The PCs are coming with me. The stuff that I can't live without, the stuff that I need to like survive and do my YouTube channel, I'm taking it with me. Military theft is the genocidal nation, probably pro-human. Jesus Christ. Well, I guess that's one way of looking at it. Sure. Let me see. Do you think movies are movers theft? Are movers thieves? I don't know. That's gonna be the first poll of the day. Here you go. Are movers thieves? Well, welcome all. I see a lot of friendly faces. Thank you for being here. Smoking Blondie and all the mods and Raul and Caterpillar's End. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. I ran across this small creator. He's just got like one follower. No, he's got 8 followers or something. And he's only made a couple videos. But the thing is, his video, it's called Dear White People, okay? It's called Dear White People. Let me see how you feel about this, okay? PC, stereo equipment, firearms would ride with it. Yeah, Devil, I'm not going to let my firearms are coming with me. PCs, stereo equipment. You still have stereo equipment? I have like my speakers on my television, but I don't have like stereo equipment anymore. I used to have a vinyl collection, but after a couple moving vinyl is heavy. It's heavy. And then I read too many books, and I try not to keep books. I try to like read digital books. I try to do library. The library near my house has been closed. Now it's open. Now that I'm leaving, it's open, but it's been closed for like 4 years. I'm actually really pissed off about it because I wanted a library. I love libraries. I like checking stuff out of the library. I don't really like owning books because books suffer the same problem as vinyl. You start collecting them and it's like I just want to throw books in the trash. So here's my plan. And let me tell you about this plan. Let me see what you think. I want to do when I get to New Mexico. I want to start a one of those little free libraries. Like the little guy. It's like a box. It looks like a little house on a stilt on a post, and you put your books and you say free, take one, leave one, or something cutesy. I put that right in front of my house, and I'll just put my books in there. And the ones that are fancy, I'll keep on shelves and be like, here, look at this. It's decoration. They become decoration, don't they? Isn't that what a book is kind of like a taxidermy deer head, right? Look, I read this. Here's proof. You can see it right there. It's they become trophies. It's like reading is like the trophy hunter. Like reading is like hunting, and putting your book on a shelf is like putting a dead deer's head on a shelf. Look, one day I went outside and I killed that deer and I chopped off his head, and then I paid another guy to stuff him with wood and cotton and put glass eyeballs in his head. And now he's hanging up on my wall to prove to everybody that sometimes I go outside and I kill animals and chop off their heads. I think that's the trophy, right? That's what you try to tell the world, is that sometimes I go outside, and when I do, I like to kill animals and chop off their heads and stuff them with cotton and wood and put glass eyeballs into their heads, into their eye sockets, because eyeballs will turn into goo. I do that sometimes. That's what you're saying to the world. Now, when I read, and so I take the book and I put it on the shelf, I hate that. But what am I supposed to do? I can't I can't burn it. That's, burn books. I can't pulp it because I don't have a pulping machine. I can't put in the wood chipper. Maybe I should compost my books. Just compost them. Turn them into tomatoes. Turn them into tomato plants. That's your book collection? Yeah, I agree. I have library book wallpaper on my fridge. Nice. I like that. Wallpaper. I don't know. Books and albums are way cooler trophies than heads. Hey, to each his own, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, of course, yes, albums are great because you're going to listen to your albums, but books, are you really going to reread, I don't know, The Hunger Games? You're going to reread The Hunger Games? Are you? You're going to reread The Hunger Games? Are you going to do that? You're not rereading The Hunger Games. Throw that fucker away. Like, get it out of your house. And the problem is, you get something like it's really popular, like Hunger Games. Nobody wants that shit. You can't bring it to the library. They got 1 million copies. You can't put it into a free library. Everyone's already read it. So what do you do with it? Wood chipper into the composter. You got to compost it. What are you going to bring it there for? Why you got to keep your copy of the Hunger Games? Put it in the wood chipper. You don't need. There's plenty out there. You could go to any Goodwill right now, and there's going to be 6 copies. In Anchorage, Alaska, they have a Goodwill. I don't know if that's true. If they do, they got some kind of secondhand or Salvation Army or something's up there, and I guarantee you there's a book section, and I guarantee Harry Potter's there, the Da Vinci Code, and Hunger Games. All of them are there. You have them. You have access to them for the rest of your life. There's no reason to keep them in your house. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you being alive and sexy. Looks like we're 50% on the move. Our movers thieves. Okay, good. I'm gonna choose to trust the world and the recommendation from my realtor. Now here's Dear White People. Dear White People, says this young creator. Let's see if you agree.
Dear white people, be proud.
Actually, can I tell you something? Every time I hear someone say something like "Dear White People," I feel like, oh, here we go. Oh God. All right, let's do it. Dear white people. Is there something about just the tone of voice? There's something always about that. Come on, my whites out there. We got some whites in the house. How do you feel about that tone of voice? I don't like it. Don't you take that tone of voice with us whites. Don't you take that tone of voice with us white people. Don't you do it. How dare you talk to white people like that? Dear white people. Oh, I don't like it. Okay, here we go. Sorry. It's just the tone of voice throws me.
Dear white people, Be proud of who you are,
What?
your cultures, heritage, histories, and most especially of all, your race. In the
I don't do spit takes, but if I did, I'd do a spit take with my cough. What? Okay, be proud of my race. Most of all, proud of my race. What is the white race? What is the white race? Is it a phenotype? Is it anybody who's white? Are Italians white? Italians used to not be white. Now they're white. When white people are doing awesome, Italians like being white. But when they are doing shitty, Italians don't want to be white. Jews are the same. Jews are the same way. They like being white when we're cool. But when white people aren't cool, all of a sudden Jewish people aren't white. What is that? Who's white? What is white? What's a white race? I always like that. Be proud of your race. What do you mean? Greek mythology and shit. Greek stuff. Yeah. Democracy. You invented democracy. You invented architecture. I invented that shit. Well, people that look like you did. The Greeks. Every time I'm in Greece, they're like eating baklava. They got olive skin. Their skin looks dark as fuck. They don't look white to me. I got a Greek friend. I've had him as a friend for years and years. He don't look white. People call him white. So what is white race? The Greeks are white. I don't even know what whites are anymore. Russians are white. Be proud of your race. You're Russian. Caucasian, right? Isn't the Caucasus Mountain? Where do all those cocks come from? Who put the cock in Caucasian? I put the cock in Caucasian.
The last 500 years, much of human history has been directly impacted by, influenced by, or caused by white people.
Well, yeah. I mean, because like there's a lot of us. What if you count the Greeks and the Jews and the Italians? Yeah, I guess you're right. The white people have done a lot of shit over the years. What? You've influenced a lot, white people. Congratulations. Well, yeah, we have influenced a lot. Western Europeans, I consider the whites. I don't know. But then there's the Spanish. Are they whites? Because I don't know. Sometimes Spanish people, they don't seem so white and they speak of the Spanish. I don't know. Who's a white? I think we like the Spanish when we're talking about like the Spanish Inquisition, like the invention of white supremacy, like that. And then we really like the Spanish, right? But what is a white culture? Okay, sorry, I just Western Europeans. We invented colonialism. That's kind of great, right? We spread the English. No one's mad at us for that. Colonialism's awesome. If you have greater technology and therefore more strength, you are allowed to rape the women and children, kill all the men, or enslave them. You're allowed, if you have greater technology and or greater numbers, you can go to other people's countries and plant a flag and then take all their shit, kill all their women and children, or rape them, whichever. It's up to you. You get to do what you want is the point. If you're white and you have greater technology, you can go to other people's countries and take their shit and do whatever you want with the people. Starve them, massacre them, whatever you want. White influence. I love it. Who doesn't like it?
Western civilization, the best civilization by any metric, is one.
Ooh, best civilization by any metric. What does that mean? I don't even know how to look. I was gonna fact check that, but how do you say Western civilization is the best civilization by any metric? Western civilization is what white people say in order to claim the accomplishments of the ancient world. So things like Greeks, the Hellenic tradition of, say, democracy and trial by jury and the Senate and stuff like that. Parliamentary government. We tend to say, okay, Western civilization, so we can take credit for that shit, so that white people can say, oh, that's us, that's our people, that's Western civilization. That's why we say that. That's why it's bullshit is the point. There's not a real thing called Western civilization. The Germans are as different from the French as they are. The French are different from, I don't know, the Americans. I don't think we're the same. Do you? Do you think the French are the same as the Americans? Well, we're part of the same civilization. Sure, I guess. What's a civilization? The greatest civilization by any metric. See, this is the problem. This kid, I guarantee you, he's just been watching Ben Shapiro or some shit. Ben Shapiro, he's Jewish. Is he white? Is Ben Shapiro white? Who gets in? Brazil is part of Western country. No, Brazil doesn't count. South America doesn't count. They're not part of Western civilization. But you know who does? Australia, oddly enough. For some reason, Australia counts, but not Brazil. Strange, right? It's a strange thing that's how it works, but that's how it works. Like and subscribe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so that we get more action in the chat. I know you love the arguments in the chat. Let's go.
Created and championed by white people. The human rights and civil
Western civilization means white people. That's what it means. Western civilization isn't championed by white people. Western civilization means white people. We made it up. We made it up, everybody. We made it up during the Spanish Inquisition, and it keeps on going on today. We made that shit up to make you look like, hey, if you're black, we get to own you. That's how it works. If you're white people are at the top, this is the claim, right? The white people are at the top, and everyone else is closer to animals as you get darker. And then once you're an animal, you're a slave. So there's got to be some wiggle room in there, right? All like Aristotle, this is Aristotelian philosophy. Aristotle says that all animals are here for us, here for humanity. And since some humans on this sliding scale are more like animals than the whites, then you could treat them like slaves. That's Western civilization for you. We made it up. Doesn't actually exist.
liberties we take for granted today is derived from Western culture. Entire social, economic, and political systems come from Western thought.
There are lots of political theories that came out of Western thought and also from Eastern thought. Yeah. In fact, during the Dark Ages, there was only one great literary release. Can anybody tell me? Can anybody tell me in the chat what was the only great literary accomplishment of the Middle Ages when the white people had forgotten the recipe for concrete and steel? Can anybody tell me what the what the only literary work of the Middle Ages was?
The greatest scientific and technological advancements
I'll give you a hint. They still are. People are crazy about it today. People are still they're talking about it every day. They'll talk. We'll be talking about it Donald Trump talks about it every day. Magna Carta. Magna Carta isn't a piece of literature, but I like where you're going. It is like anarchist cookbook. The Bible did not come out in the Dark Ages. the Bible did not come out in the Dark Ages. I'm sorry. No, in the Middle Ages. No. King James Bible. No, King James Bible was a translation. No, sorry. King James Bible came out way later too. What year did the King James Bible come out? 1611. Strongly in the English Renaissance already. I bet you don't know, but you're on the right track. Boom, 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 boom. So if you really want to know, in 600, in the year 600, we have this little book came out called it's called the Quran. 40 years, 610 in the Common Era. 610 in the Common Era, in the middle of the Dark Ages, we have the Quran coming out.
are made by white people. Even our very concept of what is right or wrong, our morality, comes from Western culture. In other words,
Our morality comes from Western culture. You don't know the difference between right and wrong unless you are a Westerner. You see, this is the type of shit that this kid's been getting fed. Who's telling this kid that brown people don't know the difference between right and wrong? It's only Westerners who know this. This poor kid. And given his phenotype, I don't think he's... Look, I know we just made up this white stuff, this white culture thing. But he's loving it. He's buying into this shit. Is this kid white? Is he white? Oh man, the brainwashing so strong.
basically most important things are created by white people. So
so great. Just that's his video. I caught it for some reason that ended up in my feed. Tragic. It's tragic. It reminds me of that scene. I forget what movie it was where it reminds me of like old ads in the very before my time. There were these old ads about like how to straighten your hair and look more like a white person for black people, and how to lighten your skin, how to straighten your hair. And they had like products they were selling and kind of basically telling black people they're ugly, and they needed to look more white. This is what this reminds me of. Are you going to get extra points with the whites by saying this shit? White, you know what the other thing is, man? White people, unless you're Donald Trump, we don't like getting our asses kissed. We don't really like it. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only white person left that doesn't like getting their ass kissed. Maybe white people do like getting their ass kissed. I hate it. I hate when people sit there and kiss my ass, you know? I hate it. This is that. Like, are you gonna get extra points? You gonna think Ben Shapiro is gonna call you up and be like, "Hey, I think you did a great job on that video." I don't think so. That's depressing. White people, the best.
It's an image that Roswell Encina says.
Speaking of white people, here's some white culture for you. Right here on the train. There you go, using public transportation, because public transportation is a socialist thing. But don't forget, National Socialists were socialists. It's just that they defined the public very narrowly. The Social Democrats think the public is everybody. We're all members of the public. And the National Socialists think that only certain white only white Christians are the public. Everyone else gets to die. See the difference? Only white people get to use the buses. White nationalists love buses. They love socialism. They just don't like that black people are on the bus with them. That's all.
Took his breath away the first time.
This guy looks like an Asian guy. He's probably related to the other guy. Talking about how great Western and white culture is.
He saw it. Encina can be seen sitting on a metro train, surrounded by masked men wearing the uniform of the white supremacist group Patriot Front.
Nothing really prepares you for something like that, and you tend to tense up and kind of wonder what's happening.
On Saturday, Encina was...
Ooh, yeah, big beats. I mean, Mesoamericans thought it was moral to sacrifice children and eat their beating hearts raw, so maybe he has a point. White people never did anything like that, did they? No, white people never killed kids. Did white people buy and sell children on Jeffrey Epstein's island? Yeah, they did. Jeffrey Epstein was white. Look, I mean, what do you mean? Mesoamericans. There were some Mesoamerican tribes that did some of that shit, like long before any white people ever saw it. Yeah, okay. Sure. I don't know. The Greeks kept boy toys as sex slaves. You want to claim the Greeks as Western civilization? We love the Greeks. They all did great shit. We love them because they invented democracy and philosophy and shit. But also they used philosophy and democracy and the tragedy and tyranny of the majority in order to say that we should own little boys because, yeah, you can fuck them. They don't get pregnant. If you get them young enough, you can imagine that they're little girls. It's disgusting. There you go. White people, huh? White people, huh? How did Jesus die again? What did white people do? You ever heard of the Spanish Inquisition? You ever heard of the Holocaust? That's white people stuff, man. The Holocaust. No, we don't claim that shit. If the Mesoamericans are still got to answer to bullshit like, well, didn't you do human sacrifice? Then you got to take responsibility for the Holocaust. You have to take responsibility for Hitler. If if Mexicans still gotta be responsible for what the Aztecs did, then you're directly responsible for Adolf Hitler and the KKK. Jesus. Mesoamericans sacrificed children back in the old days. We burned witches in Europe. We hanged witches in America. Hanged them. because we thought that the Ubu Jubus are coming out. The EBGBs. Oh, we got sick. There's secret spirits coming in through the windows and infecting our young girls. So we're going to have to rape them and hang them so they don't tell anybody. Oh, and if they have babies, we're going to bury them while they're still alive in the backyard. That's what was going on in colonial America. So
headed to a 4th of July party in Maryland. He says when the Patriot Front members boarded his train, his main focus was avoiding eye contact and staying safe.
I'm not the first person to go through all of this. There's Ruby Bridges. There's so many African-American kids and teenagers and students from the 50s and 60s that went through worse. And, and this is when you realize you have to use that courage that they all went through to go through.
There we go. He made America great again. Look, minorities are afraid again. Make minorities afraid again. That's what MAGA was. Make minorities afraid again. They did it. It's just like the 50s and 60s, exactly what they wanted. I told you when they say they want the 50s and 60s again, and someone like Donald Trump's like, it was great in the 50s. I remember it. I was born in 1946. I remember very well. Very well. It was great. We all loved the 50s, didn't we? We loved the 50s. They were such good times were had by everybody. Minorities knew their place. We're going to make it great again. Here, they did it. This is it. Maggers, you made it. You made America great again. Minorities are afraid again. Congratulations. Make minorities afraid again. Let's see. This is the new poll. Let's do a new poll. Did it work? Did Donald Trump bring us back to the 50s and 60s? Did DJT bring back the 50s and 60s for minorities? How just for race relations? I think for race relations. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Did DJT bring back the 50s and 60s for race relations? I think there's evidence of that. He's like, I got to have courage. I got to have courage like they did in the 50s and 60s. I got to have courage like they did 75 years ago. Brought us back 75 years. Cool.
Something like that.
He also drew on his past experience. 5 years ago, Encina was riding Metro when a group of kids threw coffee on him and another Asian American passenger, but left the other non-Asian passengers alone.
And then I realized, oh no, I mean, I can't believe this is happening.
It's kind of hard to believe that was almost, 5 years ago, Amy, that when we first chatted about all this.
Well, anti-Asian sentiment really took a just spiked because Donald Trump blamed the Asians in China for the COVID. The Kung flu, calling it the Kung flu. Isn't that funny, the Kung flu? Eh? I made that up. I just made it up. Just me alone. I made that up. Kung flu. It's all the Asians' fault. There was a Asian church near me that got shot up. Somebody went in there and shot people because they thought that they had COVID or something. It's their fault.
It's just a reminder of the divisions in this country.
News 4 spoke with an expert on extremism about the group Patriot Front and what they were hoping to achieve by marching on July 4th.
Their message to America is that it is for whites only. That's their main goal, is publicity, and
it's National Socialism. That's how they define the public. Socialism is prioritizing public need and benefit over private profit. If you define the public as just white people, and that's the only people that this country should benefit, you got National Socialism. Or what do we call them for short?
That's what a lot of extremist groups go for.
As for Encina, he says he's holding on to his faith in humanity. And
they've always got the logos down. They've always got, that brand, every brand in the world has always wanted that type of the swastika, y'all are going to wear that? All of you are going to wear it? How did you get all of them to wear it? The Patriot Front, they've all got the hat. They got the memo, man. They're in uniform. You know how hard it was when I was working in casinos just to get bartenders and cocktail servers to wear their goddamn name tags? Just wear your fucking name tags. Look, man, I'm getting shit from my boss because you can't just get your name tag on. Just get your name tag on, please. That's all I want, so my boss can stop breathing down my neck. He's busting my balls because you ain't wearing your name tag. Could you please? I beg you. I'll give you extra candy. I'll do anything. Just wear your fucking name tag, please. Not the Patriot Front. They're like, you want me to wear a name tag? White mask? Is that what we're doing? Okay. Khakis? Okay, got them. Gloves? We're doing gloves? Okay, we got the gloves. Tan hats? Got it. Everyone's wearing the same patches? Wow. Nailed it. Navy. We're doing like royal blue shirts. Fuck it. Yeah, we're doing all of it. Did not miss. Nailing it. Just like the Nazis.
He still believes most people.
You know how hard it is to get everyone to wear the same shit? Any woman who's ever planned a bachelor party knows. Okay, we're all wearing sequins. One bitch is always going to show up in satin. I said sequins. You can't do it. No one, not at the Patriot Front. They nail it.
People are inherently good.
We have to stay hopeful. I think in times like this, that's almost what you have to hold on to.
The extremism expert I spoke with says if you find yourself
extremism expert. Look, I talked with an extremism expert. How does that person at parties say, what do you do for a living? I'm an extremist expert. I'm extremism expert. Like you're really into skateboarding, like X Games? No, different type of extremism. Different type. Like that movie with Vin Diesel where he's like doing all the jumps and shit. And part 2 had Ice Cube in it for some reason. Why was Ice Cube in Triple X? I never understood that.
in that situation where you're surrounded by members of an extremist group, the best course of action is to not engage.
Don't do anything. If you're surrounded by extremists, don't say anything. Don't say anything. They will kill you and the cops will do nothing. The cops will do nothing. The cops will do nothing. The cops are there to protect you, though. What are you going to do? Call a crackhead? I'd rather call a crackhead. If you're surrounded by white supremacists, do not call the cops because you'll just have more white supremacists around you.
Welcome back, President Trump.
Welcome back, Maria. Maria Bartiromo. It's been so long, Maria. Were you sick? Are you doing okay, Maria? Maria Bartiromo.
I'm frustrated with NATO allies this morning, saying that the United States is treated unfairly.
I just love, like, he stands out like a sore thumb. Like, look at this fucking guy. It's like Donald Trump. Always like, which one of these guys doesn't fit? It's Donald Trump.
And that the U.S. pays disproportionately compared to other countries. This after the president ordered a wave of powerful strikes last night on Iran, responding to the IRGC's attacks on commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz over the last.
You ever notice, this is virtual reality for me, says the extremist expert said, run for them hills. I don't know if you noticed, but over and over again, when you see these extremism experts or these fascist experts, they're all Americans, but they're living in Canada or they're living in the Netherlands or they're in Berlin. They're someplace away. And they're like, yeah, I mean, it's getting bad everywhere, but America, I don't want to be in an oven. That's what they're all saying. The guys like, I'm going in the wood chipper, man. I'm going in the oven. I'd rather stay here, chop off my head. Go ahead. I'll say it with the last breath I got. Go fuck yourself. What were Joe Hill's last words? I forget. Have you ever heard Joe Hill's suicide note, last letter poem thing? So Joe Hill, I don't know if you know about this, but he got framed. He was an anarchist. He was a singer, and they executed him in 1915. He got framed for murder, and everyone, like, it was a bunch of people were there, saw it happen. They were like, it was not him, but it was his poem written as hell on the eve of his death. And here he is. This is him. He came from Sweden, I think he was Swedish. He came to America and he changed his name to Joe Hill and he started working on the fields and stuff. And then he became a singer and he talked about unionism. He wanted to unionize and they murdered him. They framed him for murder, and then they executed him by firing squad, and in Utah. And his last will said, he wrote this in his cell on his last day alive. My will is easy to decide, for there is nothing to divide. My kind don't need to fuss and moan. Moss does not cling to a rolling stone. My body, if I could choose, I would to ashes it reduce, and let the merry breezes blow my dust to where some flowers grow. Perhaps some fading flower then would come to life and bloom again. This is my last and final will. Good luck to all of you. Joe Hill. Fuck. This guy, to the end, he was, of course, the international workers. He was the wobbly. They call them wobblies. IWWs. International Workers of the World, I think. Yeah. He sent a telegram to fellow IWW. Don't waste time mourning. Organize. Don't waste time mourning. Organize. And then he got shot to death. Apparently, right before they shot him, they said, ready, aim. And he said, just shoot me already. I think that's how I'm going to go. That's how I want to die. Just do it. Just do it.
That's 36 hours.
I love how wait, there was a one white supremacist who was black. There was a which one? There was a black white supremacist. Listen, some Jews voted for Hitler. That don't mean shit. I found a black person who loves white people. Great. That's cool. Good. That's awesome. I found one. I just showed you a person who was talking about how the supremacy of white culture, and that kid was Asian. He was like Filipino, I'm guessing. But like, that don't mean shit. That don't mean shit. The first video I showed, go back to the front. The first video I showed was of an Asian kid talking about how Western culture is the best, white people rule, and that we should all be kissing white people's asses. That doesn't mean anything.
Joining me now is Georgia Congressman Richard McCormick.
Except that propaganda works. It means that propaganda works great. It means Fox News is doing a great job.
He sits on the Armed Services Committee and has served in both the U.S. Navy and Marine Corps. Congressman, thanks so much for your service. Good to see you this morning.
Good to see you too, Maria.
What do you want to say about where we are in this war after the president's comments that the ceasefire is over? Do you think we can count on NATO allies in this conflict as the conflict with Iran intensifies?
Damn, are you okay, Maria? Maria's not doing so great.
They certainly haven't shown any interest up to this point. I happen to be a NATO parliamentarian. They want to please us. They want to be good stewards, but they're very scared to get involved. This is typical Europe approach to any sort of war or inclusion. But I will say this, the United States has to finish this. We have to be strong. Half measure.
What do you mean finish it? What do you mean finish it? Occupy. We're going to occupy Iran, everybody. Are you ready? Are you ready for a forever war? I hate to be the guy who said I told you so, but I told you so.
We'll never do it, right? When you look at a Tehran regime that does not have nearly a fraction of the power we have.
Not a fraction. They don't have a fraction of the power we have. We're not going to be embarrassed by them.
Participating in Clausewitzian warfare, not tit for tat, not for incommensurate amounts. We should be dominating them and bringing them to their knees.
That's the thing. You can't just bring them to their knees. There's this new thing called asymmetrical warfare. You know, there was this country once upon a time. They were called England, and they tried right here in America to fuck with us. And they had superior firepower. They had way more money, way more people. They even had collaborators living here. The people who were living here considered themselves subject of England, subjects of the crown. And with asymmetrical guerrilla warfare, we won. Vietnam. We had superior firepower, technology, more people there to go. We had all sorts of shit to do. Tons of bombs we can drop. We had Agent Orange we can drop on people. We had everything. Napalm from the sky. Raining fire, literal fire. Melting people alive. And we still lost. We still lost Vietnam. We should have had them on their knees. They should have been on their knees thanking white culture. Why can't they be like that first kid we watch and just understand that Western culture, you'd be nothing without us. You wouldn't even know the difference between right and wrong. You'd have no morality if it weren't for white culture.
don't see any way that this regime, who's done nothing but defiant, never been positive toward a peace process, can be dealt with. We need regime change in the worst way, or our kids will be dealing with this.
Well, when you say finish this,
I mean, learned it from the natives. It's not like it was a new idea. I mean, the Parthians would get on horseback and then attack. And their big thing was they got really, really good at shooting arrows while the horse ran backwards. They would go attack, retreat, and just shoot arrows in retreat. And they were really good at it. That's asymmetrical warfare as well. I mean, this has been something that they've been doing forever. Like the ancient world was filled with asymmetrical war tactics from superior in order to, you know, to put up a fight against a superior aggressor. It's not, I mean, Sun Tzu talks about this in The Art of War. Attack when they're retreating, retreat when they're attacking. Like, it's just, this is Art of War shit, man. It ain't that hard. It's not that hard to embarrass a superpower. It's happened before. They've embarrassed us so many. Look at Afghanistan. We're there for 20 years. Taliban's still there. We're gone. Taliban's still there. Viet Cong, we're gone. Viet Cong still there. I mean, that's literally a line in Born in the USA. Fighting off the Viet Cong, they're still there. He's all gone.
and I know that a lot of people have said that, finish the job. What specifically do you mean? I mean, the president has said many times that Iran has been obliterated. What more does the U.S. need to do to finish the job, in your view?
Unconditional surrender, regime change.
Yes, Skyjack, the American Revolution was won by Washington getting access to the French money and being able to finance the Continental Army. France bankrupted itself, supporting America. Well, bankrupted itself. It helped. French money always helps. Sure, you got to feed your people. By the way, man, have you heard that there's like Chris Pratt and like, look, man, you love the new Young Washington movie. I was excited. I really wanted to see the Young Washington movie. I actually wanted to go see it. And then I found out that it's like Christian propaganda. And so I'm probably not going to go see it. It's getting really bad reviews. I was excited. I was like, wow, they're making a Young Washington movie. I want to see it. I actually was excited about the film. But I don't like going to watch Christian propaganda. I don't like to go watch movies about how Jesus Christ won the Revolutionary War.
If we don't have that, this regime has done nothing but threaten us, nothing but kill Americans. 40 attacks through their proxies, 1,000 Americans dead. They've never said anything other than to destroy the great Satan, which they view us as.
I did go see it. You're right. Should I go see it? Just as like, should I go see? Should I? Let's put that as that's a great poll question. I'm going to put that in the poll. Should I go see? You know, the other thing, bro, the other thing that really fucking gets on my nerves, Andy Serkis is in it. Kelsey Grammer's in it. And the guy who plays Washington is just some English kid. It's mostly English people. Kelsey Grammer's American, but everyone else is English. Why am I watching a bunch of English persons cosplay as American soldiers? Like, I don't want to see that shit. I guess I'll go see it if you think I should, though. If you think, should I go see Young Washington? Chris Pratt says it should be great, but he's also really extremely anti-gay Christian occultist. So I don't know. Should I take Chris Pratt's advice?
We will never have peace with this regime. We'll never have safety with this regime. We'll never have passages in the Straits of Hormuz unless we accommodate them. This regime has got to go.
Yeah. Okay, great.
I thought that Donald Trump said the regime already went. What are you talking about? I thought we murdered the regime.
Great points all around. Meanwhile, from
Donald Trump said the regime was already gone. So what's
from
the
a
deal?
congressional level, what do you expect in terms of your work on this and your colleagues? And you've got only 8 legislative days left on the House calendar before the August recess, and you've got a lot to do. House Speaker Mike Johnson told me the House wants to pass a 3rd reconciliation bill, which would include the Save America Act. He spoke with me on Sunday Morning Futures 2 weeks ago. Here's what he said.
We passed it 3 times in the House already. We're going to pass it again. And this time we're going to try to put it on a reconciliation bill. And the reason that's so important, Maria, as you know, is it prevents the necessity of 60 votes in the Senate. The Democrats want no part of this. And remember, this is very basic stuff. We're just going to make sure you have to have proof of citizenship to register to vote, and then show an ID when you turn out at the ballot box. These are 90-10 public opinion issues, and more than 70% of Democrats want to do it, but not the Democrats in the House and Senate. And so we've got to go around them. And I told Anna Paulina Luna and a couple other colleagues, I said, it makes no sense for us to shut down our good work in the House just because Senate Democrats refuse to do the people's will. We've got a lot more to do. We've got to keep it going.
So
if all the people, this is just tyranny of the majority. Now, these are 9 to 10 issues. They think everyone should have to show an ID. People say that they want you to show an ID because you already do have to show an ID when you go and vote. Every time I go vote, they ask me for a fucking ID. Well, you have to get, now they want you a special ID. So you see, this is the thing. This is how people like Mike Johnson lie to you. This is how they do it. They say things like, well, 90% of people think you should show an ID at the polling office when you go to vote. Okay. Then ask them again, do you think that you should have to show your birth certificate and get a special ID that costs upwards of $250, and you have to make sure that you get your name on your birth certificate has to match the name on the ID. So if you're a woman, you can't go vote because you changed your name when you got married. Do you think that that should be a thing? It won't be 90% anymore. No siree. What if you just said, hey, everyone needs to get a passport in order to vote? You think everyone's going to say, yeah? No, because only something like 30% of Americans have passports. What percentage of Americans have passports? 40%. So like almost between 40 and 50%. Half of America, let's just give them 50%. Half of America has no passport. So if you say, oh, yeah, 90% of people say they want to see, they want to show an ID when they vote. Sure, everyone. But guess what? I already show a fucking ID when I vote. And if I don't have an ID and I'm registered in that place, they put it in provisional in case double voting or something fucked up happens. They put it in another pile just in case. It's provisional. It's called provisional voting. You voted without an ID, or you voted in the wrong polling place, or you voted wherever. You still have a right to vote, but you did it not in the right way. So we're going to put it in provisional, and we won't count those until later. That's all it is. That's how it works. Ain't that hard. A real ID right now already costs between $75 and $250, depending on what your deal is. $250 is too much when no one can afford rent and gasoline is at $6 a gallon or whatever it's at right now. $250 is too much to vote. That's a poll tax.
Riders on the incline are sharing what prompted them to press record during a moment that has now gone viral. The conductor operating the car was fired that same day.
Now, in the video, you can hear that employee telling the riders that the U.S. is the best country in the world, and if they disagree, they can leave. Madison Sims spoke to the family that recorded it.
He said that we're the best country in the world, and you should go back to your goddamn country. You don't like it. If you criticize our country, which is your right as an American citizen or anybody else, the whole point of America is that you get to criticize it. But if you're criticizing it, I think you should get your head chopped off and get sent out to your own country.
Video. Madison?
David, the entire interaction was filmed by a father and son duo, and in it you can see the shock on some riders' faces, and now they're telling us those troubling comments were made throughout the entire ride. Father,
Why are you doing this? What? Just drive the bus, bro. God damn it, just drive the goddamn bus.
father and son duo.
This guy thinks he thinks he's Donald Trump. Donald Trump's on the microphone saying this shit. I should get on my microphone and say this shit. Dude, your microphone is to tell kids to sit down when they're doing graffiti.
Charles and Nathan Shear were visiting Chattanooga from Florida for the 4th of July. Their travels led them to one of the city's most popular tourist attractions, the Incline Railway.
We're all loading in, and then just as it's about to start, the conductor just made sort of a opening statement of welcome to the train.
But just as their ride began, so did some disturbing comments.
And then made some sort of disparaging remarks about foreigners, and then the train started.
The car fell silent, and Nathan says he thought about it the entire way up the mountain.
Yeah, why the hell, man? We're just here to have some tourist fun. Imagine going to Disneyland. Disneyland's pretty patriotic. Got all these American flags flapping around. When I worked at Disneyland, they do the whole thing with the dude saluting when they put up the flag in the morning, and when they take it down, little guy with the bugle and shit. They do a whole big thing. They got 2 flags that they do that with every morning and every night, sunrise and sunset. And you can go watch it. I don't think they're going to tell you that foreigners aren't welcome.
But once they got back into the car for the descent, he decided to press record.
To the very, very few Americans in here, happy Independence Day. And to the rest of you, welcome to the greatest country on the face of the planet. And if you disagree, you can leave.
What in the hell? There aren't so many Americans on my train today. If you don't like it, shut the fuck up, get you out of your country.
Doesn't really know who is American and who's not just by the way they look. So that kind of floored us.
Even if you were critical of the country, the idea that you have to leave if you if you have any complaints, the whole thing is weird to me.
Also, they're just sitting in silence. It's not like these guys, they always think they're tough guys, like trying to intimidate people that are just riding a train. Just riding a train. These people aren't burning flags. They're not doing anything. Shut the fuck up. I'm really excited about 4th of July. That means I can be mean to foreigners and people who look like foreigners. If you look like a foreigner, I know you're a foreigner, and I know that you ain't one of us.
Sent the video to Carta, and that same day, the employee, who has now been identified as Jack Peterson, was removed from his role. Carta says Peterson was not employed by them, but a seasonal employee hired by a contractor.
Well, that made me feel.
That's news. Well, it's local news. I like to dip into local news. I get bored with all the same, it's a news reaction show, my friend. Platinum Player 23. I like to dip into some, just try to get a little flavor of what's going around the world, a little. It's not national news. That's the beauty of the internet. I can look in what's going on in whatever the hell this is. I like to look at local news from different areas because I think it's fun. I like to see what's going on around the world, around the country. I like to do it. I also listen to German podcasts about the news just because, I like to keep my German up, and I like to know what their take on this shit is. I like to have international perspective, national perspective. Plus, it gets boring just talking about Donald Trump the whole time. And all you fucking maggers are always like, oh, you guys, all you do is talk about Donald Trump. No, I don't. I talk about all sorts of shit. No, I don't just talk about Donald. It just happens that he has to be in the news every single day because he's a narcissist. Every single day he has to be in the news. It's not my choice. Before he was elected, I talked shit on Biden every time he was in the news, but he wasn't in the news every day.
Really good about Carta and about their responsiveness to this and believing, it should have been handled.
Peterson declined to comment on the situation, but for the Shears, they hope this incident stands as a reminder that our words have consequences.
If someone has those thoughts, that's fine. Make your opinion known, but not during your job.
Carta's CEO has since apologized to those passengers, saying it should.
Like, is she a foreigner? Is she American? She's got dark skin. I can't tell where her family came from. I have no idea. She could be Filipina. She could be African American. She could be Pacific Islander. She could be her family could be from anywhere, really. She could be Somali. I don't know where she's from, but she's American. She sounds like an American to me. She looks like American to me. But this guy doesn't think so. Doesn't think she's American because she's black.
Have never happened, and the organization has a zero tolerance for language that demeans
She could be Indian, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Dark-skinned people come from all over the world.
or excludes anyone who rides with them. You can read Carta's full statement by visiting this story on our website.
Jaw-dropping video of the.
I will say, though, I feel like they should have confronted the guy. Hey, what the fuck you doing, man? How dare you say that shit? Who the fuck do you think you are? I wish that people had the courage to do that. Like, I wish they said that, yeah, I recorded you, you piece of garbage. You piece of garbage. How dare you? How dare you call yourself American? You're about the least American person I've met. You're the only one on this fucking train who's acting un-American. You. Because America is a country of immigrants. America is a country of people who criticize the nation, criticize our leadership so that we can be better. You can't do that if you just bow down and kiss the ring.
Roof collapse from inside the Ocean Township BJ's Wholesale Club. Watch customers go running as a
God
wave of water
damn.
starts knocking over everything in its path.
Still shaking a little bit. I've never seen anything like that. So
eye opener for sure.
Ken Collada just happened to stop in moments earlier to pick up some laundry detergent. He says he first took this video when he noticed a leak in the store. This is a photo he shared of the after.
Jesus. That looks horrible.
Of the collapse just seconds later. He says he was about 20 feet away from the debris.
I heard the
That's how it is
bang,
sometimes.
like, so-
That's how it is with BJ's sometimes. Sometimes it starts with a trickle and then it's a huge explosion. That's how it is at BJ's every once in a while. Sometimes BJ's it's all just at once. Sometimes it's like a slow leak and then a big gusher. I mean,
loud, and I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe it was a tornado. Who knew? And I just leaned against like a girder really quick, and then I turned to my right and I see the roof on the ground, and people started screaming. It was just pandemonium.
The Monmouth sheriff says there were dozens of employees and shoppers there at the time. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but about 20% of the roof is now gone.
Listen,
this is at BJ's. This is BJ's, and it started. They blew the dome off the thing. The guy got the dome. He got the dome on the top. You know how it works. Sometimes when you're getting dome, there's an explosion. Things go wrong. You can knock the roof off a motherfucker.
We were lucky. If you have seen any of the video footage from within, there are some lucky people there where the deluge of water came down and really took a lot of the debris and tables and other displays.
Oh, I like an educated sheriff. A deluge. Après moi déluge. Après moi déluge. You're gonna say, antediluvian. I like it. Guys gonna get really into this shit. I like the deluge. You don't hear sheriffs talk like that very often on the news. It's always like, ding dang do, I gotta go and I'm gonna kill them. Oh, you look different from me. I'm gonna get up there and ding dang do.
Down the aisle. So really fortunate.
It happened just after 11 in the morning as intense storms.
I mean, that's a wet BJ's. No, everyone knows that's a very wet BJ's, right? This is not up for debate. It's an extremely wet and messy BJ.
Rocked the tri-state, dropping 2 to 3 inches of rain per hour. A photo from the Monmouth Sheriff's Office showing how quickly the area flooded.
All joking aside, this is I love how people are like, well, the predictions weren't exactly right on that whole Al Gore video thing that he made back in the day. I don't know. It seems like he's pretty right on. I feel like he's spot on here. It seems like this is happening more often. People are like, I've never seen nothing like this before. Me neither. I've never seen an entire BJ's get that sloppy that quickly. Like, I don't know. Usually it take a little while. You want to make them work for it. But it's like this thing is intense. Maybe that's just because maybe because everyone's so hot and bothered these days. It's because the heat. Everything's so hot. Things are going to start exploding like this.
We had a really rapid downpour here in the county, leading to some severe flooding around the area and with really poor drainage. And then a second wave came in. So at the end of the day, I think there's some lucky individuals that were inside the store.
We thank you for watching. And remember,
lucky individuals inside the store. They're lucky. They're lucky they got to see it front seat to the apocalypse. We're right there. We're all lucky. This one way. I like this sheriff's outlook. You guys, you're lucky. Do you feel lucky? I'm going to say, look, 53% of you think I should go see. All right, fine. 53% of you say I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. 53% of you think I should see it. I'm going to go see it. All right. Do you consider yourself lucky? Are you lucky, pump? Are you lucky, punk? No, that's not how you say it. Do you feel lucky, punk? Do you, punk? This 45 Magnum is going to blow your head clean off. Clean off. Do you feel lucky, punk? Listen, do you feel lucky? You get to see the world collapse. You get to see it. We're all going to see it, man. Only one generation is going to be I remember a world before computers, before the internet. I remember them bringing a computer home and putting it in the room, being like, oh, it's black screen with green and white letters. It's just, you got 2 colors, green and white. Remember those days? I love that shit. And now, I got a computer in my pocket. I'm surrounded by computers constantly. My TV is smart somehow it's smart. I guess it's a smart TV. Everything is smart now, except for me. I'm just getting dumber. Everything else is getting smarter. And I'm gonna be in front seat. How lucky am I? I get to see the sky open up and drop 10 feet of rain on a BJ's. I never thought that I would get that. I never thought I would get that type of BJ. That type of BJ's.
To me, I think it's over.
It's over. Do you feel lucky, punk? It's over. It's over. It's all over. It's all going to end. This is it, fuckers.
I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people.
They're scum. They're vicious and they're violent. Let me get this straight. Hold on a second. So you guys were negotiating, right? Because you were talking about nuclear weapons. And then out of nowhere, you just started fucking killing people and you assassinated the entire religious family. The whole, whatever you call them, the Ayatollah family, the Ayatollahs. You killed all of them. You did like a mafia style hit on the Ayatollah and his entire family. And then bragged about it. And then bragged about how the Ayatollah, who is now in charge, the son of the guy you murdered and his family, his brothers and his sisters, that he's invalid. He is crippled. He is disabled now because you assassinated his whole family. And they're the violent scum. Are you saying that Iran is the violent scum? We attacked them. How are they violent scum? How is Iran the violent scum? We attacked them. We were the ones who were not negotiating in good faith. We were pretending to be negotiating, and then we parked an aircraft carrier in their Persian Gulf, and we were like, "Oh, don't worry about that. That's just for funsies." And then we bombed the shit out of them and killed their children. We bombed a school full of kids on day one, double tapped them to make sure that all the children were dead. They're the violent ones? They only killed 13 of our guys. We've killed thousands of them. They're the violent ones? They've only killed 13 military men and women. Not one child. They didn't kill one child, as far as I know. They didn't kill any American children.
And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
Moments ago, President Trump declaring the ceasefire with Iran is over, his words, and that he doesn't want to deal with them at all.
Retired Navy captain and former Pentagon official Brent Sadler is here to react. Good morning to you, sir. So the question is there still room for negotiations, or should we take the president at his word? Is the ceasefire really over? What is your reaction to what the president just said?
Well, it's, I think, inevitable given the nature of the regime that we're dealing with, because it hasn't really changed, despite the best of compellence in military and some of the concessions, or at least the offering of concessions in this MOU. But both can be true. You can continue on with negotiations at the same time that you're involved in active hostilities. It's happened numerous times throughout human history and even in the modern.
That's right. We bombed their churches. We bombed their churches. We bombed their mosques. What are we doing?
Era. So why not here, especially with a group that only understands brute force to be compelled to actually make necessary concessions or to enter in a truthful way of any type of agreement?
Like, this is what's so funny. It's like, this is our video of bombing their shit and killing them. And we're like, they're violent scum. Watch all these videos of us killing them. Aren't they violent? That's videos of us killing them. And we're using this as evidence that it's a violent conflict, that we started our war of choice. It's like, is Vladimir Putin getting on TV and saying the same thing about the Ukrainians? These fucking violent Ukrainians. We got to do something about these Ukrainians. They're so violent. You invaded them! You did that! What are you talking about? Are MAGAs this stupid that you just forget MAGA? Are you that dumb that you forgot that we started this war? That they do not have a nuclear weapon? They never had a nuclear weapon? They claim to never have wanted a nuclear weapon? Even if they had a nuclear weapon, they have no way of getting it here. Even if they had a nuclear weapon, they could not deliver it to the United States, our shores. So who are we really protecting? Starts with an I. Starts with an I.
To end the fighting. So the president has a spectrum of options with the military forces that he has right now. And boots on the ground of a conventional kind of invasion is not something or an option that appears to have ever been put on the table. But as there had been talk about occupying Karg Island, there's also the adequate forces to occupy Bandar Abbas, which is the location from which the Iranians are exercising their threat to shipping. It also is a site where there has been widespread discontent with the regime in the past, and even most recently back in January. So perhaps that's the type of spark on the tinder that's the Iranian populace to trigger a more widespread kind of uprising that would take the country back without having to put boots on the ground or continue with the strikes that you're seeing. The episodic back and forth.
You cannot win a war without boots on the ground. Unless you just want to murder everybody. If that's what you want to do and just destroy everything, then maybe. But even then, you're going to have to send people in. Like, that's what we did to Germany, right? We just bombed everything. Like, have you ever heard of Dresden? Like, they boiled babies alive. Like, they just destroyed everything, just killed everybody and anything moving. I lived in a town called Hanover, and in the city hall, they have these models. I guess they're like diorama, like a bird's eye view, the model of the city, and they have it from when it was a when the Hansestadt was still around, and it was just a little medieval town. And then they have it. Then you go to the next, like it's 100 years later, and it's this big area, and it's a bigger city, and it's like it looks more modern. And then you go, and then it's like, oh, before the war, 1945 or whatever, or 1936 or whatever, and then it has 1945, and it's just the whole city bombed to shit. It's a model of the city after the war, of what this city looked like, how every single building was destroyed, and exactly how they were destroyed. And then you look at the city hall that you're standing in, and you could see that there is a bomb hole in the top of the building, and you look up, and you could see they've patched the building, and that for some miracle, the bomb came into the building and didn't blow it up. But everything around is destroyed. And it's like, we did that. And then we still had to send people in. We still had to send all the people in. All the USSR had to go in. We had to go in. We all had to go in still. We could have just bombed them and be like, all right, thanks. You want to give us your oil now? Still going to send people.
We attack, the Iranians basically sue for returning negotiations, the attack stopped, and then they didn't have another provocation. That cycle is, I think, dead, and I think rightfully so. So hopefully these attacks that we're seeing now continue to bring the pain to the IRGC and certainly degrade any remaining military capacity to threaten shipping in the Strait of Hormuz.
Brent, right now on our screen, we are watching the various NATO leaders walk across the stage, shake hands, including with head of NATO, Mark Rutte. And that begs the question. President Trump and NATO leaders are all in a room together. We're anticipating the family photo soon. They're going to be talking. Do you think, in light of the president's comments just moments ago, that we could finally get the bulk of NATO to help us in the war and what looks like the resumption of hostilities with Iran?
NATO is not supposed to be an aggressive force. NATO is supposed to be, if you attack one of us, you mess with one bee and you get the whole burrito. It's supposed to be like, if you mess with any of us, all one for all and all for one, Three Musketeers shit. Nobody bombed us. Nobody's been bombed. Not one NATO ally has been bombed. Ever. The only time it's ever been used, Article 5, I think it is when 9/11 happened. And they were like, cool, let's go.
I think so. There's certainly a compelling case from the very beginning. Iran is a threat to NATO. NATO, in fact, in the late 90s all the way through until recent time, Iran was always listed as a threat. It was the rationale for putting Aegis ashore missile defense batteries in Poland and Romania, and also the additional deployment of Aegis destroyers to row to Spain back in the 2012 to 15 timeframe. So it's an acknowledged threat, and I think NATO, perhaps now, given the economic pain, but also the nature of the fighting right now, they've got military forces that have moved in, or at least nearby, mine clearance vessels most notably, to actively take a more proactive role in at least reopening or securing the shipping routes. To include the Bab el-Mandeb, the Houthis still remain a proxy, an active proxy.
Get those Houthis too. Throw them in there too. Yeah, throw the Houthis in there too.
Of Iran.
So shortly before U.S. military retaliation last night, the Treasury Department announced it was...
Look at these evil fucks. I love it when they do this look. Yes. I love when they do that. You see them do it all the time. Yeah. Or this one. Nobody looks like this. Normal humans don't look like this. These are lizard people.
Revoking sanction waivers that have allowed Iran to sell oil. That's a big deal, and it's something that's not going to make Iran very happy this morning.
Well, this is very much in line with the MOU. The Iranians have failed on their side. Again, it's an MOU, so there's no obligations, but there is a cause and reaction. The reaction is removing any of those waivers, which effectively reinstates the blockade. At least right now, it's the financial aspect of that blockade on Iranian exports of petroleum.
Don't give me that shit. That fucking they thought the Germans. Come on. Dresden was a war crime. The British thought of it as payback. They thought they were going to surrender by bombing alone. Nah, bro, nah.
The next will be the U.S. Navy enforcing the physical blockade.
All of these questions involving oil also need to be viewed through the lens of the American public, the people who buy gas and who have to pay a lot of money for said gas, especially with the midterms upon us. Brent, do you know, has enough oil been able to get out of the strait during the past few weeks?
What about that oil? I know it's about nuclear weapons and how they're violent scum.
In order to stave off a price spike now, as Carly and you discussed, that the U.S.
Wait a sec. I thought this was about them being violent scum and nuclear weapons. Why are you talking about oil? Oil? Who's talking about? Why are you talking about oil? Why even bring it up?
has revoked those sanctions.
Well, on the political question on here, I mean, elections in November for midterms, typically the seasonal spike in oil prices starts going down and the trend lines will be in the right direction, all things being equal, just driven by seasonal demands. So I think the presidents and certainly the empire, the Republicans will be fine if all things were equal. But the other side of it is, and the dissolution of OPEC, UAE departed on May 1 because they were being constrained on output that they could put through pipelines to bypass the Strait of Hormuz. So it's not that there's a lack of petroleum on the market or its ability to get out of wherever it's located, most certainly the Strait of Hormuz. So I think the pressures, the fundamentals are all pushing in the direction based on supply and demand, that there's enough oil in other places and OPEC is loosening its grip on constraining production, that you're going to see the prices come down. Whether they go down to 60.
Yeah. 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, they'll be down. In 2 weeks, they'll be down. Don't worry. In 2 weeks, your gas prices are going down. Don't worry. It just went up 5%, but that's okay. In 2 weeks, it'll go back down. Trust us. It'll go back down. Shut up. It'll go back down. It's all going back down. It'll be fine. Trump is looking for backup. I think that's exactly what's happening. Trump is like, oh, please, sir.
Have you guys, hey, I know I went in a right without you, and I know I've been talking a lot of shit. But now you want to give me some money and help me kill Iranians? You guys like killing Iranians too, don't you? I know you like killing Iranians. You know you do.
Joining us now is News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Engine, who was inside the
News Nation, man. Here we go. All right. Fox News Extreme. It's like Fox News, except it's extreme.
Utah courtroom for today's hearing. Blake Neff, producer of The Charlie Kirk Show, and Andrew Black, former FBI special agent in charge, also a former prosecutor. Great to see all of you. Thank you for being here. So, Brian, what was your big takeaway on day 2 from the testimony that you heard?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. The surveillance video that you mentioned was a big deal. They ended up letting us show it on the feed camera, and it basically showed Tyler Robinson coming and going from the camp.
We are Charlie Kirk. All right, this is damning. All right, did Tyler Robinson do it? Did he do it?
Several times throughout the day. They tracked his every move.
He came and went from the university. He came and went. He went in and he left and he came in and he went again. Oh my God! On a university campus, someone was coming and going
before the shooting, during the shooting, after the shooting. And one thing that was just kind of shocking and disgusting. They talked about how he actually went to
How do you know that's him? Oh, it's his car. Is it him?
Chick-fil-A before shooting and killing Charlie Kirk, the prosecutor said, and got food and sat down and enjoyed a meal before doing that. So that was shocking. The other thing, Katie, was the motive. This is the
First of all, I don't think Tyler Robinson did it. Secondly, is it shocking that he ate a fish fillet? I mean, Donald Trump loves McDonald's. A bunch of murderers love McDonald's. Murderers love McDonald's. What is it with all these people loving McDonald's? Did Tyler do it? I don't know, you guys. I don't know. Here's the poll. Let me know. Did Tyler Robinson do it? Poor Kirk. Poor Charlie Kirk. How could this have happened? How could this have happened?
First time that we've heard prosecutors talk about a motive. They essentially said that Tyler Robinson was gay and that he did not agree with Charlie Kirk's beliefs about trans people, about gay people, and that was the motivation behind the shooting.
Did the defense object to that at all?
He was gay. That's why he killed Charlie Kirk. Okay, if you say so. Yeah, because gay people, they're not used to people making fun of them. No one has ever made fun of the gays. Only Charlie Kirk. That's why gays wanted to kill Charlie Kirk. The gays did, huh? Is that it? That's what you're going with. The gays did it. All right. That's one way of looking at it. He was gay. So, I mean, it's possible, though. It is possible. I could see a world where this person born in a MAGA house, raised by MAGA, locked up during COVID with MAGA, learning how to use guns in his MAGA clubs. His grandma's MAGA, his generations of MAGers. And then he's like, well, I'm kind of gay. You're like, yeah, we hate you. You can't be one of us if you're gay. Charlie Kirk said it's not gay unless you do it. Charlie Kirk said you can watch all the trans porn you want and not be gay. It's only gay if you do it. That's what Charlie Kirk said over and over and over again. So just don't do it. You can be gay, just don't do it.
Yeah, so there was a back and forth. The defense didn't want this information about the motive coming out, and the reason is they wanted to talk about the TPUSA mission statement, essentially, and the defense was saying, look, that has nothing to do with anything. Prosecutor said, no, we need to bring it in because it goes to our motive, and ultimately the judge let them bring it in.
So, Andrew, video evidence is a key piece of any prosecutor's case. Do you think that making it public will affect a future jury's decision, as was questioned today?
Well, certainly the defense is going to make an issue of it. The defense always claims fault no matter what the prosecution does. And in this case, they can't make an argument that exposing the public to these types of videos is going to.
He was just a warrior for Christ. See you in Valhalla, sir. We have the watch. We'll meet again in Valhalla.
Paint prospective jurors, but you have to balance that against
I can't
the need
believe
for transparency.
I can't believe we're like Kashyap Patel got on TV and said, "I'll see you in Valhalla. We have the watch. I'll see you in Valhalla." What the fuck?
Transparency in our court systems, transparency and the information that's come out the last 2 days tends to halt these crazy conspiracy theories we've seen and gives confidence to the public in our judicial system. The judge has taken protective measures to avoid tainting juries in the future. He's prevented the release of enhanced videos, and he's prevented the most graphic videos from being released to the public and streamed. And finally, we have the jury.
Really? I mean, what I saw was already pretty graphic. I've seen him die in slow motion so many times. Have you guys seen the videos with like the exploding microphone thing, and then they put another person with an exploding microphone, and it does the same thing with the shirt and the whole thing? It's identical. That's crazy. Maybe it was an exploding microphone. Do you think it was an exploding microphone?
The selection process itself, where the defense and the prosecution will both get an opportunity to question prospective jurors and make a determination of whether they can be fair and impartial. And if they can't, then they can be dismissed. But this is normal. This is normal, and we'll see complaints from the prosecution, or excuse me, from the defense on this.
So, Blake, for months and months since Charlie's murder, those of us who have watched what has gone on and seen what we know about Tyler Robinson and the shell casings and what was written on them and the text messages that we've read about why he did this.
He wrote that stuff. I forgot. Up, down, left, right, BA star. Is that what he did?
Now we're seeing that being presented as evidence in court. The prosecution read a statement from a TPUSA board member today to try and depict the motive for Kirk's killing based on his beliefs. The defense, as we just talked about, tried to get that letter thrown out. But just based on what you know and how you knew Charlie and the rest of the details of Tyler Robinson's communications about what he wanted to do ahead of time, now we know that the motive is being presented in court as fact.
Yes, I don't think, in truth, I don't think we've ever had too much doubt about what his motive.
I don't know. Tyler Robinson doesn't look gay to me. I think if I looked at these two guys, you said one of these guys is gay. Which one would you go with? Like, just imagine you didn't know who these two dudes were. Okay. You don't know who either of these guys are. Which one's gay? I'm like, yo, here's two pictures of two dudes. One of them is gay. Which one looks gay? All right, this is going to be that's going to be a great poll. I want to see how you guys end on this one. 62% of you say that Tyler Robinson did not do it. Holy crap. 62% of you think that Tyler Robinson didn't do it. Which guy looks gay? Robinson or Kirk? I just want to know your take on this. Both? You think both? Look, I don't know. You only can pick one. You can only pick one.
Was as soon as he came in, as soon as we got these text messages that were released in really the first.
Come on. Which one do you think? Did I already tell you which one I think?
Days after the shooting. Overall, I have to say, I feel this week of hearings, it's been a relief for myself, for others who knew Charlie here at the show and at Turning Point, because it's been such a glacial progress.
I mean, there he is with his beard. Hold on.
Or others who knew Charlie here at the show and at.
Look at this, my beard. She's happy. She's happy to be. This is my female human that accompanies me because I like female women.
Turning Point, because it's been such a glacial process. We've had to wait 10 months for a preliminary hearing of probable cause. I think it's been pretty clear for 10 months. They have ample probable cause to go forward, but it's been delayed over and over. It was delayed. It was supposed to go on in May. They delayed it for a few matters to now. And we're asking people how long it will take to get to the trial itself. And we could be talking a year and a half still. One expert we talked to said early 2028.
What is the excuse for that delay? How is that possible?
Welcome to America. Your right to a speedy trial has been revoked. There is no right to speedy trial. There's also freedom of speech. That's gone too. That's why. There's no more of that. We're done with that, doing that shit.
You'd have to talk to the lawyers about that one. I know it's a capital case. I know prosecutors and the judge, they seem very committed to.
That's it, because they're trying to kill him. They're trying to kill. Look, this dude killed one person, and they're trying to say that he's a menace to society, and they want to murder this Tyler Robinson kid. The burden is higher when you talk about capital offenses. So you're trying to hang this guy. You got to try to hang this kid. You're the one going for the death penalty. That's why it's taking so long.
To making sure there's absolutely no grounds for this to be thrown out later. And so they're letting it be very methodical. And the defense is taking advantage of that to be as methodical as they can be as well. We're even seeing that with this hearing. I think all of the evidence in this hearing, some people were saying this could have been waived, this could have been completed in a day, but it's likely to take the entire week because the defense is objecting to everything. On Monday, we actually had this almost farcical scene that went on for like almost an hour about whether one of the witnesses could identify Tyler Robinson in the courtroom. They asked him, and then they said that was prejudicial or whatever. They go back and forth. They go into recess for a little bit so they can discuss it, and they finally come around 45 minutes later and say, can you identify Tyler Robinson? Yeah, it's the guy between the two defense lawyers seated right there. And so we've seen a lot of this, but nevertheless, I'd say I am relieved that this is happening because the real pain was nothing happening. Meanwhile, people are going crazy on the internet. They're throwing out incredibly vile attacks on Erica, Charlie's widow.
Like, I don't know. How come I'm not seeing any evidence for this kid? Like, you'd think that we would have a ton of evidence. Luigi Mangione, look, I don't know. Does it seem like there's no evidence with this kid? Like, we haven't seen anything? I started watching Charlie Kirk before I started watching you. I started watching Charlie Kirk before he started watching me. Keep it classy, not trashy, Jack. You're better than this. What do you mean trashy? What's trashy? They're the ones talking about him being gay. I just said which one looks gayer. What do you mean? How is that trashy? This is News Nation. I'm reacting to them. I didn't write this.
Other people at Turning Point, other people he knew, and I'm really grateful to see.
I love this shit. Like, they're the ones talking about, oh, he was gay, so he killed Charlie Kirk. I didn't write that. I'm not writing this. You're trashy for reacting to the guy saying that the dude is gay and that's why he killed Charlie Kirk.
See more of the evidence come out, see more of the process move.
Well, yeah. Gay has a look, apparently. That's the joke. You understand? That's the joke.
Forward. We want justice in this case.
Yeah, I mean, the attacks on Erica and on Turning Point and on you and Andrew have been absolutely despicable and devoid of fact, that's for sure.
Devoid of fact. I haven't heard any facts yet, except that the trial's taking longer than they thought, and they got some camera footage of Tyler Robinson's car coming and going. Okay. Well, I have flight logs that says that Donald Trump was with Jeffrey Epstein during the times his accusers say that Donald Trump raped them. I have that evidence. We have the evidence. We have the flight logs that placed Donald Trump at the scene of several crimes with Jeffrey Epstein. And people are like, nope. No, he had nothing to do with it. He never even knew Jeffrey. Remember what Donald Trump said? He didn't even know Jeffrey Epstein. Why would you lie? Oh, what about these flight logs? Well, turns out I did know him, but I barely knew him. We just knew that we were both in Palm Beach. And that's it. Oh, so you didn't know the guy? Nah, not really. We barely knew each other. No, didn't know him. It's a hoax. And then it turns out that I did know him, but I kicked him out of my club. And then I did know him, but I was an FBI informant. Oh, no, I did know him, but I'm not in the Epstein files. Turns out he's in the Epstein files over 1 million times. Okay, but that's all because people talked about me and tried to frame me. That's because the Democrats have a time machine. They went back in time and wrote these things in the Epstein file. It's just like, we have the flight logs, we have the allegations, we have eyewitnesses, we have all of the shit that we need. And you're telling me Tyler Robinson is guilty because you have some blurry photos of some cars? Nothing else? How come I see cars? I don't see him with a gun. I never see a video of him walking with a gun. Where the fuck is the gun? Or even a bag. I never even see him with a bag. I've seen pictures of a dude running across but he doesn't have anything in his hands. And how I know that's him? We have all these accusations about Donald Trump. We even have Donald Trump admitting it. I grab him by the pussy. I break into the dressing room and look at their beautiful naked bodies without clothes on, the teenagers' bodies. My age limit is wouldn't want to be seen with a 12-year-old. We have his own voice saying these things. And they're like, no, he's innocent. But that Tyler Robinson, he's guilty as sin. Look at all the evidence we have. What? There's more evidence. Like, There's an overwhelming mountain of evidence that Donald Trump was Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator in buying and selling and raping children. And yet, everyone wants to kill Luigi Mangione and Tyler Robinson, people against whom very little evidence exists.
Andrew, just in terms of what we just discussed as a prosecutor and the time this is taking, obviously it's agonizing for all of those who are victims of this situation. But as we just heard, could be for good reason.
They showed his car coming and going. That's true. They showed he was on campus, which is great. Exactly what a flight log, why those flight logs with Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's planes, why they're so important, because it places him at the scene of the crime, right? That is not guilt. They say that he was on campus. I don't think anyone was ever arguing that he was on campus. He was there.
And to make sure that this doesn't have to go through another process later on.
Yeah, absolutely. The more information that comes out in the preliminary hearing, I think helps.
Nobody wants to kill Luigi Mangione. They tried to do the death penalty on Luigi. Now it's off the table for now, until the federal case happens. The state has withdrawn the death penalty. Like, what do you mean? There were people trying to kill. Of course, the state wanted to kill Luigi Mangione. What are you talking about?
So the public understand, what's going on here, and tends to.
Pam Bondi got on fucking TV and said that she wants to have the death penalty for Luigi Mangione. What are you talking about? The government wants to kill Luigi Mangione.
Dispel, this misinformation we've been seeing and the conspiracy theories that have been going rampant, because it's been so long since, we lost Charlie, that it's given these social media influencers an opportunity to, spin these yarns for clicks and see it as an opportunity to make money.
Yeah. Brian, final question to you.
Don't say that around the TPUSA guy. They're making a lot of money. His show is literally called The Charlie Kirk Show. They're making money off of Charlie Kirk. Isn't your show The Charlie Kirk Show? Aren't you the host of The Charlie Kirk Show?
We mentioned Lance Twiggs. He was not in the courtroom today, but the defense team wants to cross-examine him, we hear. Is there any news about whether he'll be in the courtroom at all this week?
He won't. The judge made the decision that he does not have to come, which was an interesting decision. I mean, the defense really wanted to be able to cross-examine him. They will play an audio recording when he gave his interview to investigators. He's kind of, to me at least, still the mystery in all of this and a little bit of a wild card. What did he know? When did he know? Why did he get immunity? And then today it came out that his DNA was also on the towel and the screwdriver found at the shooting scene. So I still have a lot of questions when it comes to the lover, Lance Twiggs.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to run. But Brian Entin, Andrew Black, and Blake Neff, thank you so much for joining us.
Is Lance Twiggs? The lover, Lance Twiggs. They like to push the gay narrative over on News Nation. They're gay. Have you mentioned that in the last 5 seconds? Did I mention they're gay? Don't forget they're gay. They're really gay. That's why they did it. They did it because they're gay. Are you for state murder? Are you for state run executions? Are you for state-run executions? I'm so curious about this. There's so many of you here. I wonder, are you for state-run executions, or are you for that? I mean, I don't know, man. I'm completely against any government having the right to determine what's against the law and then which laws it's okay to murder you for. Why should the government have the right to murder any citizen? I don't think the government should ever have a right to murder a citizen, ever. And they should have a ton as far as burden of evidence is concerned when it comes to taking away your freedoms, any freedom. Hardly knew you, Tyler. Tyler Robinson, hardly knew you.
Democrats about open borders. They're so fanatical that to achieve their goal of...
The Democrats are fanatical about open borders. No, they're not. It's not murder. Yes, it is. It's murder. What the fuck do you think? It's not murder, you dork. What do you call it when you murder somebody? What do you call it's not murder, it's a killing. Oh, it's state-run murder. It's murder. It's totally a murder. No, they had a reason. Everyone's got a reason for murder. Everybody. It's not murder. It's not murder, though. It's not murder when the government does it. Only the government's allowed to do murder. Everyone else can't do it. Just the government. I love the government so much, and I trust them. I love the government. I just love the government so much. I think that they should have the right to murder their citizens.
Making America with third world immigrants, they're willing to sacrifice an unlimited number of American lives.
And in total, for more than an hour and a half, a valiant attempt was made to save
Trooper Michael Pajara's life, and they were unsuccessful.
Oops.
The man died a hero. He was an outstanding trooper.
The man who took this hero's life is 33-year-old Michael Bond. He's here courtesy of Joe Biden's 2024 mass parole program. Now, not only did he stay here, he was given a 4-ton weapon to use on our highways because a Massachusetts company gave him a commercial driver's license. And the far left governor there, Maura Healey, remember, she's a passionate advocate for illegals to be on our roads, goes on and on about how it went.
But you want your shit from Amazon on time, though, right? You still want your shit from Amazon on time. So wait, this guy, I thought that this was going to be violence. No, it was somebody in a car accident. We're blaming immigrants for car accidents. This hero, he died a hero.
They need to have driver's licenses because if they didn't, they wouldn't be able to get insurance, blah, blah, blah. She's the worst on immigration. Even when Trump's DHS canceled this guy's parole program and Mr. Bond was told to leave the country, well, he ignored the order. And why not? He was probably betting on those anti-ICE thugs to shield him in Massachusetts.
Yeah, he was betting for the anti-ICE thugs.
And his CDL kept getting renewed anyway. Now, Officer Pajara was a 20-year vet of the force. He just moved back in with his parents to help care for his mom as she battles cancer. That's the life taken by Joe Biden's illegal. Here to discuss his borders are Tom Hallman. Tom, does Governor Healey of Massachusetts and her ilk ever address the suffering of these American victims?
Never forget, this is how it starts. You think they started with throwing Jews in ovens? You think that's how it started? Nah, man, it started with foreigners are not allowed to sit on park benches. Foreigners are not allowed to own pets. Foreigners are not allowed to have guns. Foreigners are not allowed to have driver's licenses. Foreigners aren't allowed to shop at the same shops as the rest of us. That's how it starts. It's starting right now. This is how they do it. See that we found a foreigner that did a naughty. We found one, did a naughty. But you like having your shit delivered from Amazon, though, right? You like that. You like it in 2 days. You got that Prime. You got that Prime. It comes in 2 days. You can get your dildo in 2 days. I mean, you don't want to wait longer than 2 days for a dildo. Get that dildo in 2 days delivered to your door. Hello, dildo delivery, ma'am. Thank you. And leave. Alexa's like, would you like to thank your driver? Yes, thank my driver.
Absolutely not. She'll be on TV saying she's not a sanctuary state. She said it 100 times. When in fact she is. Look, you're not talking about this before. I've met with hundreds of angel moms and dads. That's the reason. One of the top reasons I came back out of retirement twice for President Trump is because of the stories I've been told by parents who bury their children. So it doesn't get better. I mean, we got to. We turned up the heat. As you see, ICE had a record number of arrests in the last 5 days. They broke every record in the book.
Well, all the records. They broke all the records, and they killed a couple people too. They killed a couple people. They killed somebody.
10,000 arrests in less than 5 days. We turned the heat up. Ever since the Supreme Court decisions, we're turning the heat up on the Haitians who lost their status here. So we got a lot of work to do. We got more resources to do it. We got more agents to do it. So you're going to see these arrest numbers climb because we got to arrest these people. We can't wait for them to commit another crime to find it. We got to find the criminals and the non-criminals. That's exactly what we're doing.
We got to find the non-criminals and get them because you can't wait for them to commit a crime. You got to arrest them before they commit crimes. Everyone should be arrested before they commit crimes, and then we can execute them before they commit crimes. It looks like 85% of you so far are against state murder, but look, we could just, you know what? You broke a law. Who says? We do. Bam. It's not a murder if we say that you broke the law.
Well, you took the words out of my mouth because we always hear, well, we're getting rid of the worst of the worst. Well, before he killed a police officer with his truck, maybe he wasn't technically the worst of the worst, but now we have a family man, a wonderful officer, a hero, an American dead. That, again, makes the argument that
an American hero. Look, man, he was doing a job. That job was dangerous, and he got killed. That doesn't make you a hero. I mean, sure, I guess. Like, thanks for your service, I guess. But, dude, like, you could call every taxi cab driver a hero, too. They're a dangerous job. Uber drivers, that's a dangerous job. It's a dangerous job working in the mines. You call those miners, all the miners who died, heroes? It's a dangerous job doing all sorts of shit in America. Shit, it's dangerous being a podcaster these days. Am I a hero?
Again, people want mass deportations. They want these people out of the country. They're sick of Maura Healey. They're tired of these sanctuary cities or not, say whatever they want to call themselves. And we need mass deportations. Whatever.
Thank you for your unbiased, fair, and thank you for your fair and balanced viewpoint there.
The anti-ICE people are going to do. We got to roll right over them. You know, I don't care what we have. These water cannons. Don't hurt anybody who's protesting, but they got to get out of the way.
Don't hurt them, of course. No. But they got to run them over. What? Don't hurt anybody who's protesting because we have this thing called freedom of speech so far, right? We still got that.
We got to get these people out of the country.
No, I've said from day one, everybody's on the table. If you look at the numbers, when I looked at yesterday, just over half of everybody we're arresting is a criminal. So about half are non-criminal.
All right, only 74% are against the United States of America or other governments having the right to murder their citizens. Hey, that's great. It's not murder. It's not murder if Saudi Arabians cut off your head for saying something bad about Muhammad. If you say something bad about Muhammad in Saudi Arabia and they cut your head off, that's not murder. Okay, that's completely legitimate.
No, so everybody's on the table. You know, when President Trump wants to prioritize public safety threats, yeah, we may prioritize, and we got a list. We got 4 criminals and 4 non-criminals. Try to get the child predator first. But bottom line is, everybody's on the table. The numbers show it's about half and half now. So, you know, and with the additional resources we got from the reconciliation bill, you wait to see what the numbers are this year. I'm not going to say in the last week, ICE has broken historic records every single day, and we're not going to stop. We're going to add more resources. We're going to add more targeting.
Bro, this guy just doesn't say anything. Look, we're going to target more people. We got to put more people on the streets. We're going to be breaking all the records. We're breaking all the records. And Donald Trump is very proud of me. He's very proud of me. He kind of reminds me. Look, rest in peace, Biggie Smalls. You know, but you know, like. I grew up, but fucking grew up. You always sound like you got a big fat mouth. Do you think it's because they got fat in their cheek? Is it because their jowls? I grew up, but fucking screw up. I don't know. It was all a dream. I used to read What Up magazine. I always thought he had like, you know, I'm West Coast. He's East Coast. I grew up in that time when that like meant something. I know it was all stupid. It was so stupid. I liked Busta Rhymes and Wu-Tang Clan, but he and Tupac, you know, we were all drawn into that, you know. You were Team Tupac or Team Biggie. I don't know why. Stupid. We were kids. But Biggie Smalls did sound like he had fucking cotton in his cheeks. I blew up, but fucking blew up.
Got millions of people we need to find. And the next.
No, we're done.
It's yet another self-driving car mishap. Dude, our Waymo just drove into a firework. Rose Peterson and her fiance were in a Waymo on July 4th in San Francisco when the robo-taxi drove right over illegal fireworks in the middle of the street.
It didn't even stop. It didn't break. It didn't hesitate. It just literally went on like nothing happened.
Thankfully, the company says no one was hurt, but Rose says it left her questioning the car's safety.
We were just really upset and distraught and just thinking about what
we were distraught. What could have happened? I don't know. You got into a driverless vehicle in San Francisco. Why are you doing this? Stop.
happened, not just to us, but the people around us.
Meanwhile, nearby.
Check out all these Waymos.
You know how women are like, they'd rather be around a bear than a man in the woods. They prefer the bear. You know how they always ask the bear question? I think we need to ask women about, like, would they rather have a male Uber driver or a Waymo? Because I think that a male Uber driver or bear Uber driver, no, robot Waymo or robot killing machine or robot monster Waymo thing. I don't even know what whatever the hell it is. Which is it? Robots or Uber? Male robot. Which one is it? Forget about I think women prefer robots. I mean, women have been fucking robots way longer than dudes. Like ever since they invented the vibrator in 1860 something. So really, women have had lots more experience with fucking robots than men have. Like I've never fucked a robot, for example. I've never fucked a robot. Women, all of them have fucked robots. I've never fucked a robot. Women are far more experienced with this than I am. So it would make sense that women would be more cool with Waymo. Like, I'm not cool with Waymo. I think women are way more cool with Waymo than men are. Maybe that's just my take. Hot take. I've never fucked a robot, and I've never been in a driverless car. Never done either of those things. But, you know.
Several Waymo cars got stuck in the traffic following the city's big fireworks show.
It's basically a Waymo traffic jam.
Dave Gungona took this video after getting trapped in the gridlock.
People were getting out of their cars and they were actually yelling and screaming at these Waymos.
He says he was there for 2 hours before Waymo employees arrived. Some cars seen here getting towed away. Waymo says extreme traffic congestion disrupted normal operations and that some of their cars ran out of charge while idling. It all comes after a string of questionable traffic incidents involving Waymos. One recently drove into floodwaters in Atlanta, and in LA last year, another appeared to drive right into an active police scene. And as for the incidents on July 4th, the company says a separate unoccupied Waymo drove over a firework and caught fire. The company says they're committed to evaluating.
I'm not saying I'm against it. Like, if they came out with the fuckable robot, I might give it a try. I don't know. It depends on, like, I'm a frugal guy. I don't know if I would. I don't know. There's got to be there's a difference between, like, sticking my, like, actually putting my epic fury into a robot. I don't trust it with my epic fury. I don't trust my epic fury with just anybody. I mean, I've trusted the wrong people with my epic fury, and it never turns out well. Should I trust a robot with my epic fury? At the end of the day, women, they're always trusting robots. That, like, I read an article about how much, like, you see all these prime delivery trucks and everything, that they're mostly delivering iPhone cases and dildos, vibrating dildos, robot men, robot penises. What is this world coming to, man? I guess it's fine. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't trust. Like, how do I know what, like, it'd have to be clear, I think, to know, like, I want to know how this machine works before I just, like, can you imagine opening up a box? Okay, and there's a machine in the box. The machine can look at, like, whatever you want it to look like. And you want to stick your dick into that machine? I feel the same way about putting my body into a Waymo. I don't want to put my body into a Waymo. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I don't trust that goddamn robot. But women have a long history. Women have been having sex with robots for almost 200 years. It's been 155 years, 165 years. Let's just. When were vibrators invented? 1880s. 1880s. They started doing it to perform pelvic massages to treat female hysteria. So 1880, Dr. Joseph Mortimer Granville. Man, imagine that guy, a British physician. That's white culture for you. We gotta cure these bitches of their hysteria. How are we gonna do it? Well, we're gonna tie them down and force them to have orgasms. How are we gonna do that? I've invented this thing called a vibrator for pelvic massages. They're gonna love it. They're going to love it. And it's going to cure them. cured hysteria. The wandering uterus was, because that's what hysteria means. Hysteria means they got a uterus that's moving around. A wandering uterus. We're going to cure it with vibrators. It's 1880, and I just invented the vibrator. I'm an Englishman. It's 1880, and I just invented the vibrator. It's peculiar machine. It's splendid. We're going to cure hysteria, aren't we? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, we are. Now, strap in, lass. Little lassie, strap in. It's time to test out my pelvic stimulation machine.
And learning from these events. Tom.
In a scathing new report, the Trump administration accuses the leaders of the Smithsonian of being radical activists. The report, released by the White House Domestic Policy Council, claims the Smithsonian cannot be trusted to tell America's story.
The Smithsonian can't even be trusted now. I already have no trust of this government, but now Smithsonian, like, I thought I had a little bit left for the Smithsonian in me. I've been to I've been to Washington, D.C. I've been to our nation's capital dozens of times, and I've been to many. Smithsonian's a massive institution. There's Smithsonian. You get your epic fury out and spin around, you're going to hit a Smithsonian building if it's long enough. But, like, it's seriously,
Adding the leadership.
I can't believe that the Smithsonian. We can't trust the Smithsonian?
Moved the museum's mission away from straightforward historical education and scholarship toward an extreme political activism that seeks to transform our country. The report singles out the National Museum of American History, saying it would benefit most Americans if the Smithsonian's flagship history museum had a label at every entrance that reads, "Warning, the exhibits in this museum were prepared by people who don't want you to love your country."
What? What? Warning, they don't want you to love your country. Wait a second. Only Americans are allowed into the Smithsonian?
The notion of being a more perfect union, not the perfect union, is really what motivates me.
In an unrelated interview, the secretary of the Smithsonian defended the institution's portrayal of America's history.
America's greatest strength, it's not running away from its history, but it's understanding how that history shaped us and continues to shape us.
Well, you can't actually have a culture without facing your history. Culture without history is called mythology. That's what mythology is. You invent your history. And you say, oh, we're great. We're Make America Great. And we're going to talk about how great we are all the time. That's mythology. Culture comes from when you do the hard work of facing your history and you realize, oh, we've got all these traditions and things that come out of that. We can figure out how to move forward, and we can have the good and the bad, and we have a culture based on that. One of the reasons why a lot of colonial nations don't have culture, they just have borrowed culture from other places, is because of this, because we don't confront our history. Australia, man, they committed genocide. They went in, it was one of the worst things in the history of the planet. They went in, they killed all the Aboriginal Australians, and they don't talk about it very much. They like to not talk about that shit, so they still celebrate Christmas in the middle of June. like it's hot as shit down in Australia when they have Christmas, is my point. It's like our June and July. They're celebrating Christmas in their December, and they've got like pretend snow and Christmas trees because they've just imported all of those traditions. They haven't actually come up with many of their own, because you can't, because you're constantly subduing your history. You have mythology about how we got here, we forged a new nation, and everything was great, and we didn't do anything wrong. That's not history. That's not culture. That's mythology. That's what we're doing. That's the goal now.
But President Trump has targeted museums and historic sites he says paints too negative a picture of America's past.
Aren't these the guys that wanted the fucking the slave owner statues because they loved the history? I thought they loved it. That's our history. That's our heritage. I thought you loved that shit. No, now they hate that shit now. What?
We want the museums to talk about the history of our country in a fair manner, not in a woke manner or in a racist manner.
Last Friday, an appeals court cleared the way for the administration
Racist?
to replace the slavery exhibit at this historic home in Philadelphia, where George Washington enslaved 9 people. Critics
George Washington owned 9 slaves at that one location. Gulp. No, we're not allowed to talk about that.
say the administration is whitewashing U.S. history.
The story of slavery must be told here, there, and everywhere, as America acknowledges its 250th anniversary and talk about what a great country it is.
Well, not only that, not about just talk about what a great country it is, but like we can never be a great country until we come to terms with slavery, until we come to terms with, hey, slavery is wrong, and here's why. One of the reasons why it's really difficult to have any kind of social justice movement in America is because no one can agree why slavery was even bad in the first place. If you ask people, hey, do you think slavery is good? And everyone will most people will tell you, no, I hate slavery. You're like, well, why? Or what is it? What is slavery? And they can't explain what slavery is. You say, why is slavery wrong? They can't tell you why slavery is wrong. They just know it's bad because their teachers told them it's bad. So they've been conditioned to say slavery's bad. Okay, it's good little zombies. But you can never have critical thinking about these things because no one wants to talk about slavery. No one wants to really talk about it. Hey, why is this? They'll show you you just saw the pictures. They'll show you the pictures of guys with their backs scarred up and kids in tattered clothing. And they'll talk about, but they don't like talking about buck breaking. They don't like talking about castration. They don't like talking about replacing George Washington's teeth with slave teeth. They don't like that stuff. They don't like talking about that shit that they knocked the teeth out of somebody else's face to give George Washington his teeth. They don't like saying that shit. They don't like reminding people that when they killed black people and used their skin to make wallets and shoes. They don't like the fact that they made pillows out of their hair, because that's what slavery is. When you own someone from head to toe, that's what it means. You own somebody. Anyway, it's not about, oh, this country's good or bad. It's that we can't move forward. We are stuck because no one wants to talk about history. They want to talk about mythology. They want to mythologize our founding fathers. They want to mythologize our military historically and standing military. They want to mythologize that. No one ever wants to talk about like the actual history. So we have no culture. We have like this corporate culture, like, oh, go to McDonald's and eat shit and wait in line and like America and like it's some cool stuff, like our parties and the way we drink beer and like there's some cool things that like you could say there's American culture, but I think everyone can agree like most of what we do here is borrowed from Western Europe or some bastardization of that, and we don't actually get to build our own shit, man. Even when you go to Washington, D.C., that's all neoclassical architecture. That's all neoclassical shit from like shit that's pretending to be Greek. That's why it looks like that. That's why we got the columns and all that shit, because we fancied ourselves a new republic like the Greeks. So we built stuff like them. We didn't build our own shit. We have federalist architecture and shit, but no one really thinks about it. Even like Cape Cod architecture, it's just kind of, we never have our own culture in this country, or in other colonial countries too, like Australia is, I think, a really good example.
The city of Philadelphia is fighting that ruling in court. As for the Smithsonian, it says it has served the public with nonpartisan, independent scholarship for generations and remains committed to doing so. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Fight at the museum. That's the focus of tonight's angle.
Oh, I love that she likes to put I love the Laura Ingraham angle. She's going to show me why Donald Trump is humping that flag.
Do you ever stop to wonder
why Donald Trump is humping that flag?
how they came to think this way?
One of the things that brought me into starting my PhD program was finally coming to the realization that we were never really going to be able to tackle white supremacy in the way that we need to without reparations. Our ability to quantify racism, I think, is so critical. And I think we've been missing that and understanding it beyond just the general gap of race.
The reparations obsession. From a woman who was born in Ethiopia and whose family was allowed to come.
The reparations obsession. The reparation thing is pretty complicated, but I think the reparations obsession is, I'll take that over the obsession over murdering people overseas with a giant military that doesn't bring me anything. What's it bringing me? Why do we have this big military? 2.5 million people, $1 trillion a year for what? What are we doing with this shit again? What the fuck are we doing with $1 trillion a year? What are we doing with this?
Here, courtesy of America's good.
I mean, $1 trillion. Think about that. $1 trillion every year for a military. For what? Why don't we take half of that? Half of that. Let's just take half of that. Give that to whomever. I don't even care. No, just give it to people who have, I don't know, of under $100 million. Let's give it to anyone who has less than $1 million. You'll give them whatever. Take $500 billion and distribute it to people who have less than $1 million and see the economy boom. Because they'll all buy a bunch of shit. They'll buy houses. They'll buy computers. They'll buy cars. They'll buy all sorts of shit instead of tanks and missiles and jet planes.
A diversity visa. Malat Kiros is the Democrats' great socialist hope in Colorado. He's a typical lefty, overeducated and entitled, and anti-American malcontent. But there are countless more like her. Their corrosive worldview is shaped by a number of inputs. We got to get to the bottom of all of it. Of course, the parents in some cases, the schools, social media, and yes, cultural institutions that feed and reinforce their resentment toward all things American.
So education, social media, okay, that's everyone's favorite bête noire these days. And the Smithsonian Museum?
And this week, the Trump administration is blowing the lid off one of the worst, the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History. Now, it's a museum led now by this woman, Anthea Hardig, with the help of top staff such as Patty Artiega. They've taken our nation's most important museum for American history and turned it into a crusade for restorative history.
Our new mission statement, empowering people to create a more just and compassionate future by exploring, preserving, and sharing the complexity of our past.
Did that sound bad to anybody? Empowering people to create a more just and compassionate future by exploring, preserving, and sharing the complexity of our past. Sounds pretty good to me.
Empowering people to create a more just and compassionate future by exploring, preserving, and sharing the complexity of our past. As we all know in this conference, Loving America is very complicated.
I'm here representing the Undocumented Organizing Collecting Initiative, chronicling the past 20 years of people influencing legislation and becoming
Defend DACA, citizenship for all. Immigration is a black issue. Okay.
their own political force in the 21st century.
Oh, so the Smithsonian has been woke for years, but now you see this from this hokey video. Now it's just gone a step further.
Hokey video? That was a screen capture of a Zoom call, bitch. Like, give me a fucking break.
By launching its Let's Stand Together.
Sorry, it wasn't as produced for you. You need to have it produced. It's hokey.
To do better campaign. Don't you love that title? To train a new generation of activists.
If we want to change the biases in our world, we need to face them.
American author James Baldwin once said, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." Yeah, James Baldwin, one of my favorite authors. Is he a bad guy now? You don't like James Baldwin now?
We need to stand up together and face the injustices. There is no shame in wanting a better world for all and for our future.
Better word for all. See, this is why National Socialists are still socialists. Nazis are socialists, and they're so National Socialists, Socialist Democrats, Democrats, Socialists, Social Democrats. They called them back then, and Donald Trump calls them that today. So today they don't like that term. They like democratic socialists, but they used to be called social democrats. National socialists are socialists. They just narrowly define the public. They think the public are white Christian nationalists. Aryan, if you will. In the old days, it was the Aryans. Today, they got a different term. It's if you like Donald Trump. National socialists are just socialists that want to promote the public good, just like the other socialists. They just don't think that everyone's a member of the public. The social democrats think that everyone is a member of the public. Even the undocumented workers. Yes, everyone is a member of the public. We are all a member of the public. That's it. This isn't that difficult to explain. I don't know why people get all up in arms. Hitler was a socialist. Yeah, okay. And his arch nemesis were the Social Democrats. The Social Democrats were the only ones who voted against enabling Hitler in the Enablement Act in the Weimar Republic. The only ones, all 92 of them, voted against enabling Hitler because they thought everyone was a member of the public.
And we will not be alone in standing up, whether we join with our neighbors to paint over symbols of hate or we come together to peacefully protest police violence. There is a community of allies that we join when we finally choose to stand up.
Oh my God, it's just also tedious. Now, sure, there's still the ruby slip.
So tedious. It's so tedious saying that we want to make the world a better place. Yes, it's very tedious. Is everyone a member of the public? Oh, I gotta know how you think. I gotta know. Is everyone a member of the public? See, this is how you know who's a Nazi. It's a very simple question. Who's a member of the public? If they can't say everyone, they're probably a Nazi. Or they're just getting turned on to not. They're almost a Nazi. They're getting turned on by Nazism. It's getting easier and easier to be a Nazi these days.
And the first Macintosh computer and the first telephone and the exhibits. But the museum's political undercurrent is part BLM, part anti-ICE, with a little DSA, trans, and NEA thrown in for good measure. Kind of an amalgam of all of it. Now, mind you, we the people are funding the Smithsonian.
That's the thing. That we the people thing, huh? That we the people thing. The Smithsonian saying we want to build a better world for all of us by confronting the complexity of our history. That's we the people talk. That's how we the people, we want to build a better world for all of us in order to, by confronting and exploring and preserving the complexity of our history. That's how cultures are built. That's how you get a culture.
About $1 billion in appropriations. So I guess who voted for this? I didn't. So did the Smithsonian's Board of Regents, do they even know what the museum is being used for? Here's the list of the folks on the Board of Regents. You got the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, J.D. Vance. He's a little busy. Okay. Got Senator John Boozman. He's a Republican. A couple of other Republican congressmen and various other people. Now, here's what the report from the Domestic Policy Council found. That the Smithsonian presents the founders through the lens of slavery rather than their contributions. That Christianity...
That's one of the lenses that must be applied since most of them own slaves.
Is portrayed as a force of oppression, ditto for the Pilgrims, Natch.
How they reacted and talked about slavery matters. Like Monroe, he was against slavery and he was one of the biggest slave owners. And he thought that they can recolonize Africa with the slaves. And so they invented a country called Liberia and they named the capital Monrovia because of Monroe. Is that not a complex thing in your head? Fucking Thomas Jefferson was against slavery and thought that black people would all be murdered if they abolished slavery overnight, and that these people had complex ideas about it. They were talking about it. Thomas Jefferson, you want to talk about complex? He raped one of his slaves and had babies with her and shit. And he was against slavery, quote unquote. Even as late as Abraham Lincoln, 77 years later, he had a complex relationship with the idea of slavery. He also believed in the idea of recolonizing Africa with diaspora. He thought that he could free some of the slaves. He thought that he could the government can buy back the slaves and give them their freedom. He thought all sorts of stuff. He thought it was bad. He didn't know how to fucking fix it. He had lots of ideas. In New York, that liberal New York, they had ideas about how they can start passing laws to make lives better for slaves, like making sure that slave owners taught them how to read and weren't allowed to whip them anymore. They called them manumission laws. The idea would be over time, they would free more and more slaves and they could get rid of race-based slavery. It didn't work. It did not work. The point is, a lot of people were talking about slavery around that time. Everybody was talking about it all over the world. In 1833, 30 years before America, before the proclamation, the Emancipation Proclamation, in which he only freed slaves in the South. He only freed slaves in the Confederacy with the Emancipation Proclamation. 30 years before that, the English were abolished slavery in the empire. That wasn't easily done. It was hard won. Everybody was talking about it for 100 years. It was always controversial. Slavery was controversial from the very beginning. And the fact that these assholes are going to be like, we're not allowed to talk about it. That's stupid. Of course we should be talking about it. It was one of the main shit things they were talking about. The great compromise of our Constitution is the 3/5 compromise, where they all agreed that black people for censuses would be counted at 3/5 of a white person in order to ratify the Constitution. That's pretty fucking important. We're not allowed to talk about. We're not allowed to say that we're looking at the founding fathers through the lens of slavery. And by the way, that's the version of the Constitution that Donald Trump put in his Bible. He put the old version of the Constitution where the 3/5 compromise is still there.
And museum leadership thinks our founding should be problematized, emphasizing America's shortcoming and, of course, reframing.
It's not a shortcoming. It's not a shortcoming. Slavery was a thing that happened. It wasn't a shortcoming. It was a controversial thing that was going on during the formation of this country. And everybody was talking about it. Everybody had a fucking opinion about it. Everybody. From the first day, people had conversations and opinions, strong opinions about slavery and strong ideas about how they could either keep it going or abolish it. People were getting murdered over it. There were slave uprisings. There were runaway slaves. Benjamin Franklin went to France, maybe I think he went to England and he freed his slaves while he was there, because I think he had like two. Benjamin Franklin didn't have so many slaves, but he freed them. Jefferson, not so much. Didn't free Sally Hemings.
Instead of celebrating our founding. Its mission statement is removing references to American history and instead focuses on a, quote, more just and compassionate future. And exhibits are directed to focus on modern political issues across nearly every topic. The report also found anti-white and anti-oppression programming for staff.
My God, this is the type of shit. Who just said this? I just saw this. Go back to the African king selling black people. Okay. Actually, slavery has existed in some form forever. We still have it today. Slavery exists today. What Donald Trump and Epstein did to those little girls and boys was slavery. They were buying and selling children. That's slavery. Slavery exists today in our prisons, in our corporations, in the externalities and overseas. We use slaves every single day. You are a beneficiary of historical and modern day slavery. And it started way before African kings or whatever the fuck. Oh, well, the black people did it too. First of all, slavery takes many shapes and sizes. And American slavery posited that if you were born black, you were born less than, and therefore a slave. That's different than anything that was happening in Africa. You weren't born a slave. You might have been captured during conquest. You might have just been stolen and kidnapped, shanghaied. All sorts of things were happening. And they still happen today. But this idea that you could be born a slave and by virtue of one drop of black blood, you were a slave. That was unique to the United States. That was a unique feature of our form of slavery. And it's one of the reasons why racism is still such a huge problem in America. And when you want to call it racism, that a trigger word for you, racial relations in America are still quite difficult because of the racial born slavery, born into slavery because of your race. That was a very special situation that we perpetuated for hundreds of years, well into this nation's formation. Our constitutional democracy kept it going. For all their talk of liberty and freedom and equality, they didn't really embrace those things. They talked a lot about them, but they didn't really embrace them until 1860s. 7 years after the birth of this nation, they decided to fight a war over it. And even then, then they passed laws putting them in jail because of the color of their skin. They passed laws that were only against the law if you were black, because they had always been doing shit like that. So they just kept on doing other shit that was like that. So you just have this tradition of racism, of systemic violent racism. Talk to the Africans and the kings of Africa. That's just a dumb thing to say, because it doesn't have anything really to do with what we're talking about. And even if you wanted to blame the Africans who stole, like the sum of the during colonial Africa, when European nations were going to and ransacking the country and stealing all their resources, that there were some entrepreneurial warlords who bought and sold people. Yeah, okay, sure. Blame them, I guess. It's a very stupid thing to do and completely myopic and ignorant. But sure, if you want to blame them, go ahead. It really doesn't matter, because now we have to deal today with the history. You are obviously ignorant of that history. You're ignorant. In 1492, two things happened. First, Christopher Columbus and a bunch of other people started fucking going around the country, starting colonies. Meanwhile, the Spanish Inquisition was really kicking off, was really starting to cook. Spanish Inquisition created the idea that white people were supreme to all other races. Most historians bring it back to then. Up until that point, race didn't really matter so much. Then all of a sudden, Western civilization, they started talking about Western civilization, how it's better than all the other civilizations. At the same time, people were going around building colonies. And what did they use to justify the rape and murder and extraction of resources? They did it because they had clear technological advantage, and they were white. So they must be, and they had a religion that made them think that they were better than the others. They were supreme. That this is God's will. People like this Brooklyn really make me sad that, like, no interest in facts, no interest in history. This is the problem. This is why Smithsonian is important, I guess.
Immigration exhibits highlight activism surrounding illegal immigration. Gender-related exhibits present transgender identity as part of women's and children's history. Oh, by the way, youth exhibits contain material the report argues is inappropriate for children. Oh, no, that's never going to happen. So look, our tax dollars are funding a museum that fails to provide a balanced view of American history. There's bad stuff, but there's a lot of good stuff. And instead
the Roman Empire did, yes, not based on racial identity, not based on phenotype. Thank you.
Devotes itself to left-wing activism. That's obvious the goal. Now, it's designed to encourage the dismantling of American norms and culture over time. And now we're onto them. I was watching this today, the New York Times. I think they had like 5 articles on this today. No wonder they're so upset, and so many media outlets are out there running interference for the Smithsonian today. Haberman and Swan on their book tour had time to write a piece claiming that Trump is the one trying to impose his own view of American history.
I do like that Haberman Swan. I can't wait to read this book. I really am looking forward to reading this book. Maybe I'll get it on tape. Maybe I'll listen to it on my way to New Mexico. That'd be a fun book to listen to. I really want to read this book. It's called Regime Change, and the administration isn't even saying it's not true. No one from the administration is saying it's not true.
On the museum. All right. Of course, that's what they're going to say. It's absurd. Trump didn't politicize the museum. The museum's directors and staff did. Look, here's the bottom line.
Then why is it in Project 2025? Why is it in Project 2025 that they want to undermine the legitimacy of our institutions like the Smithsonian?
The liberal establishment believes that the Smithsonian is theirs to use as a vehicle for advancing anti-American agendas. They believe that when Americans come to visit their nation's capital or when foreigners come to visit D.C., they should be confronted with evidence that's built on America's racism, xenophobia, and, of course, overall greed. It's the kind of stuff that shallow celebrities spout to try to sound smart.
I think him forcing us and firing and taking...
John Leguizamo, how dare you? How dare you call John Leguizamo? Have you seen The Pest? Have you seen the Mario Brothers movie? How dare you call him? Have you seen Spawn? He plays the clown. John Leguizamo, he's a goddamn national hero.
The names off boats of important Latino history, heroes in history, and all that erasure on women and black folk.
The museums, the Smithsonian,
yeah,
erasing our history.
Completely taking it out.
It's true. That's what they're doing. They they changed the names of boats to make it more white. Fucking weird.
And since that's the real history, right, we should all be ashamed and we should be ready to make amends, meaning...
Why are you so triggered by history? You don't have to make amends if you don't want to. You don't have to be ashamed. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I wasn't alive when Thomas Jefferson was raping Sally Hemings. I'm not ashamed of it. What's it with you guys? It wasn't you. You don't have to be ashamed. Honey pie. Honey, you don't have to be ashamed. It's just some shit that happened a long time ago. There's nothing to be ashamed of. We benefited from that. I live in a house in a beautiful part of the world because of it. Because my country favored white people. I got some, I never got beat up by a cop because I was white. I got beat up by a cop because I had a big mouth. That's why, because I won't shut the fuck up when a cop tells me to. That's why. That's why cops are always beating me up. Because I say, fuck you, cop. I practice my free speech. I did not because I'm white, not because of the color of my skin.
Coming to take your money and maybe even your property and then just give it to a bunch of their friends. That's what they want. And that's what they'll do unless we, the people, get involved and demand that our congressmen and our senators stop funding this anti-American madness. And that's the angle.
So what a plot twist. The guy with the Nazi tattoo, he's a bad dude. Yeah, someone finally blew the whistle on Plattner, and it was a rape whistle. Named Democrat Graham Plattner has been accused of rape. At this point, I'm starting to suspect those oysters he tried to shuck.
I mean, it's pretty bad, dude. It's pretty bad.
We're roofied.
Pretty bad. I mean, Graham Plattner. We did a whole show yesterday practically about Graham Plattner. He still hasn't dropped out. That's the first thing I looked up today. He didn't drop out yet. Graham Plattner still has a job for some fucking reason. He's still running for a little while longer. Here's Donald Trump. Let's hear what he has to say about all the rest of the world.
No shortage of news made there. Some notable remarks from beginning to end. He said he's not happy. That was the main thing. Not happy.
I'm not happy. I'm all a victim. And no one's nice to me. They're not nice to me.
Remember when Donald Trump said that these the evil, brutal scumbags and the terrorist organization, that they were very nice.
Very nice. They're being very nice. They love me and I love them. I love the Ayatollah.
NATO because of Greenland, not happy because of Europe's lack of help with Iran. And he also mentioned that he wants to cut off all trade with Spain. One of the most notable comments that the president made, though, came at the end when he was asked if the ceasefire with Iran is over. And he said, I think it's over. They are scum.
Pause the track. Good point. I used to get fucked with by cops because I was just out late at night. And the first couple times they dragged me out of my car and took all my shit and put it on the curb and made me take off my shoes. And after that, after a couple times doing that, I learned my lesson. I was like, no, I'm not getting out of this car. No. You got any probable cause? You got any, you want to give me your badge number? You want to give me your business card? I'm not doing shit until you give me your badge number and business card. That's what I want. I'm not doing anything. I'm not moving. I will not be getting out of this car. I will not be blowing into a pipe. I will not do any of the shit you tell me to do until I get a business card from you so I have evidence that you were the one fucking with me. And then all of a sudden, they fucked with me a lot less. It's amazing. These cops.
As far as I'm concerned, it is dead. So with that, let's bring in national security and military analyst and international relations expert, Rebecca Grant. Dr. Grant, thank you so much for joining us. What is your reaction to all that you just heard from President Trump?
Well, I think you're right, Carly. That big news there is the ceasefire is over. We'll see. He did say that the negotiators are...
America's back, baby! We're back to killing kids! Woo!
Free to talk. But when you combine that with the fact that CENTCOM just hit 80...
Let's kill some kids in Iran, baby!
In Iran, and the negotiations
That's what we're good at.
Seem
Yeah.
to be at a complete deadlock. It's clear that Trump is moving this to a new phase. He's going to, again, use military pressure, more strikes if needed, in order to put Iran back in the box. They cannot continue these attacks on the shipping lane there through the Strait of Hormuz. And I think he is entering a new phase. Hey, look out. He may be ready to take Karj Island. This is why our forces.
Look out, Karj Island. Operation Epic Fury going to Karj Island. What are we going to do there, boss? What are we going to do? We're going to kill some kids.
Remain in U.S. CENTCOM. And then, of course, frustrated that NATO has not been more grateful or supportive of his denuclearization of Iran.
When you use phrases like they're sick, there's something wrong with them, they're dirty players, bunch of scum, evil people, they're crazy.
They're crazy. They're evil. They're so mean to me.
I have to turn the page because there's even more. Just a waste of time dealing with them. Liars, cheats, sick people. That does not sound like someone who is ready to continue negotiations.
No, it doesn't sound like someone who is a rational individual either. It does not sound like someone who is in charge of a country. It sounds like a child. It sounds like Regina George writing in her burn book. It sounds like Regina George in Mean Girls writing all the bad stuff about all the teenagers in her high school. They're mean. They're scum. I'm on my period. I'm getting a little upset about this. I don't know why I keep writing, but they're really gross. And they've got big butts. And they've got lots of pimples. God damn it.
He sounds like he's done. And to your point,
He sounds like a teenage girl on her period in a movie making fun of teenage girls on their periods.
Carly, how soon could we expect a resumption of military activity beyond what we saw last night, which was fairly limited?
He sounds like a misogynist caricature is what he sounds like.
Well, I believe Admiral Cooper, our commander in Central Command, is ready anytime. Remember, none of the forces, 50,000 U.S. service members there, came back.
You are so stupid, dude.
They're gross. They're scum. They're the worst. They're the most evil.
Last fucking week,
he was talking about they're so nice. I love them. They're the most beautiful. They're so nice. We wear pink on Fridays. We wear pink on Fridays. We all love them. We love pink. We love wearing it on Fridays.
And now that
Scum, they're the villains of every story. They killed Jesus. They killed Obi-Wan Kenobi. They killed all the bad guys. They spoiled the Sixth Sense. They told me that Bruce Willis was dead the whole time, and I said I haven't seen the movie, and they said he's been a ghost the whole time, and I was like, I can't watch it now. They ruined it. They ruined every M. Night Shyamalan movie. They ruin everything. Those Iranians, they ruin everything.
Still got 2 aircraft carriers, the U.S. Tripoli, all the U.S. land-based air, Army elements that are able to do air assault. They can do anything that they need to. And I think all the words he had for Iran, there's no one in the world who's going to disagree with that. He's just...
They killed Charlie Kirk.
Speaking the truth. Normally, it's only behind closed doors. President Trump tells us exactly what he's dealing with moment to moment, and his frustration with Iran has absolutely peaked.
It's also interesting because...
Yes, he did.
Day, Dr. Grant.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did, William Talent. I had a whole thing about all of the Republicans saying that Donald Trump is looking like a piece of shit because he was... All Republicans were saying that Donald Trump was talking so glowingly about people who are state-run terror organizations and that they are murdered Americans. And Donald Trump is saying all these amazing things about how wonderful they are. Yes, I even made a big joke about how is Jesse Waters going to take this after he makes his whole life about how the Ayatollahs, the gay Ayatollah, and all these jokes that Jesse Waters makes. And then Donald Trump gets on TV and said how wonderful they are.
They're being very nice. They are so perfect. They never did anything wrong. They're the most beautiful. I love Iranian people. They're going to sign the Abraham Accords, did you hear? They're going to recognize Israel, and they're all going to get, it's oh so nice.
Don't give me that bullshit. I watch this. I do this show every fucking day. Every day. I do this show. I did a whole thing about how are all these, and the Republicans were pissed. His base was pissed. That's probably why he's actually going back to war with Iran. Is because all of his friends back at the Magger town, back down there in Magger town, they probably were like, dude, you sure said a lot of nice things about these Iranians. Those sand N-words. Why are you saying such nice things about those sand N-words? Because you know that's what they call them in public, in private, right? You know that's what they call them behind closed doors. That's what they call them. I'm a white guy. I heard what you maggers call them. I know what you guys call Iranians. Iranians! No, that's the nice version. I know what you call them.
believe that it's time for him to drop out of the race.
And we are back now with our panel, and we've got some breaking news. No, Graham Plattner has not stepped down just yet. We don't know if he's going to, but Chris Murphy, another Democratic senator, has now come out and asked him to step down. And he tweeted this: Democrats have to win back the Senate if we're going to stop Donald Trump's daily nuclear-grade corruption. The assault allegations against Graham Plattner are disqualifying, and he should be replaced as...
It was disqualifying when he had a Nazi tattoo. I don't know why these limp-wristed Democrats think it's okay to have a Nazi tattoo guy. Like, is that what Democrats are now? They're like, we're cool with Nazi tattoos. I mean, he did cover it up with that tattoo of a pregnant dog, and the pregnant dog looks much better than a Nazi skull. The Nazi skull, I mean, that's bad. The pregnant dog on his chest, that was okay. He covered it up. Okay, it turns out he treats women really badly. A lot of these women are saying he treats them really bad. That's okay. You know, I mean, the Republicans treat women badly, so why can't we treat women badly? Women are second-class citizens after all. Why not? And now,
Josh,
all of a sudden, it's okay.
Brave of Senator Murphy and all of these Democrats. It is not that they had any sort of epiphany that the guy who entered this race with a Nazi tattoo is perhaps not an A-plus character guy. It's because they still have 5 days to replace him on the ballot in Maine and give themselves a chance to win a United States Senate race in the way that they've become accustomed to, the favorite opportunity in a primary election, which is to not have any primary voters actually vote and just sort of appoint somebody, which is why you're hearing about all.
Thanks, Melissa Sweetster. That's a nice thing to say. I'm getting a lot of hate today.
Now Democrats are all up in arms. None of this is new. When the allegations were made a month ago by a woman who happened to be a Republican, everything was brushed aside. Right. She was attacked vehemently. Now, all of a sudden, there's a new opportunity to replace him on a ballot, and here we go.
What I find interesting in the last 24 hours, Yemisi, is I've seen more criticism of Democrats.
Can I just say, maybe it's the blue. Her hair looks fabulous. Maybe I'm just like the blue with the shoulder pads. You know how I got a thing about shoulder pads. But her hair looks so like bouncy.
Democrats at each other than I have of Graham.
I don't know how women do that with like the hair going like this. I don't know. I don't ever put anything in my hair. I never put stuff in my hair. I just let it go. But women, they get their hair doing this. It's incredible.
Plattner. And I wonder if there is something bigger going on, because there is this civil war in the Democratic Party. These socialists, these far left-wing folks, people that supported Graham Plattner have become the loudest voice in the room. But now the moderates, the centrists, almost have, an excuse to say, I told you so.
No, they got blood in the water, and they should have recognized it from the beginning. They're like, oh, well, he's a socialist, eh?
And we did. We said it back in October when the Reddit comments and the tattoo came out. And a Nazi tattoo, a Totenkopf, should be the red line for anybody.
Yes.
And it's great to see so many congressional Democrats and leaders across the nation come out and speak about Graham Plattner. But to be clear, the time for that was also last year because then we could pivot. Now we're in a state of almost emergency because Graham Plattner, although he has not admitted or denied anything, has still not dropped out. And in a sense, he is holding the Democratic Party hostage.
He is.
Whether it's because he wants to choose his replacement, which he does not have the credibility to do that, and that's entitlement, or the fact that he thinks that he will still survive. What we have learned even from polling before this dropped was that he wasn't even doing well with non-college educated white men. That was supposed to be his secret sauce. That was why I was supposed to tolerate Graham Plattner in the Democratic Party. He didn't deliver on that, and quite frankly, he's a danger to his community.
Well, the clock is ticking. You've got till...
He's a danger to his community. She did the... I like she sits back. I have spoken. Look at her like, I like her. I don't know who this lady is. She's new on Fox News. I don't know her.
July 13th for him to step down, for Democrats to be able to replace him and name a replacement for him. Former Maine Senate President Troy Jackson perhaps could be that candidate. He tweeted today that he has not made his final decision yet, but he's humbled by the outpouring support. He's going to weigh his options, more to come. What do we know about some other potential candidates?
Yes, he's another Fetterman. I think he's worse than Fetterman. He's another Donald Trump. He's a Trump. Look, everyone's calling him Fetterman. Fetterman doesn't have that charisma, man. The thing is, you got to be careful about people who say everything that you like to hear and they got secret Nazi ties. That's Donald Trump. Says everything you like to hear, but he's a secret Nazi. Yeah, that's it. He's a crypto fascist. That's what he is. What about Graham Plattner? Same thing. You got to be careful. They say everything you want, and then they turn out to be Nazis. And then they try to rise to power, being all charismatic and shit. I never fell for that shit. I see a charismatic guy telling you everything you want to hear. I never trusted him. Everybody on this show, all the regulars know that I did not ever think that fucking Graham Plattner. People used to call in. Oh, shit, I forgot to call in. We're not doing call-ins. No call-ins today. No call-ins today, I guess. Look, people used to call in and tell me, Graham Plattner's great, Sky. You need to stop talking shit on him. He's the best. No siree.
That could replace Plattner on this ticket. Yeah, I mean, Jackson's a huge name that's sort of emerging in, this last-minute pivot. But you're also seeing Shenna Bellows, the Maine Secretary of State, the former director of the CDC of Maine, retiring member Jared Golden of Maine, who's very centrist, seems to be raising his hand, according to reports I saw, saying he's being encouraged to run. Okay. So he said he wanted to leave the House, but now that the Senate might be an opportunity. we're in a political environment when people love to raise their hands when the opportunity presents itself. So I think the Democrats are in a really tough spot. We saw this with the presidential race. When you make a last-minute pivot, you have to be getting your name out there. We don't even know what the process is going to look like because Maine law does not even say what to do if you're in.
I don't know. I think it's over, man. This is how it works. Remember when who was that guy with Goldwater? He got the electroshock therapy. I remember I brought him up. I always forget that guy's name because he's always forgotten. Who was that vice president who got the electroshock therapy and then the Democrats took him off the ticket? What was that guy's name? Thomas Eagleton of Missouri. He was with George McGovern, not Goldwater. McGovern as his running mate. McGovern, he was totally going to do it, but in 1972, they said that he wasn't going to do it. He was hospitalized for depression and received electroshock therapy. It lost him his job, and the Democratic presidential nominee, George McGovern, lost the election because of it. Thomas Eagleton. I need to remember that name because this reminds me of Thomas Eagleton. Like, for some reason, people were like, oh, you were depressed and you had electroshock therapy. We don't want you being one step away from being president. You can't be vice president. It's a deal breaker. Right or wrong, that was how it all went down. People decided that if you got a history of depression and you voluntarily signed up for electroshock therapy because of it, you cannot be one heartbeat away from from becoming president. I think, back then it made sense. Today we don't really do electroshock, do we? Not so much. But like, if you got a history of mental illness, maybe vice president is not the job for you, man. Maybe it's not. It's a hard job, bro. It's hard. Now we elect crazy people intentionally, so maybe those days are over. But maybe they shouldn't be. Maybe we should have high standards for the people who we put up there. People who become 6 years as a senator. He wants a job that we're going to give him and pay him. All of us, by the way, we're all paying, not just people from Maine. We're all going to pay him for 6 years. We got to listen to this motherfucker talk about all his damn opinions for 6 years on our dime. And then he gets perpetual forever health insurance and a pension. Why is that okay? Sorry, Nazi tattoo, deal breaker. If electroshock therapy is a deal breaker, then I'm sorry, Nazi tattoo is a deal breaker.
NATO, because Greenland doesn't help Denmark.
Greenland doesn't help Denmark, guys.
Denmark doesn't spend money to really help Greenland.
Greenland is not helped by Denmark.
But it's an important part of the United States.
But it's a part of the United States. Greenland does not help Denmark. Denmark does not help Greenland, but Greenland is an important part of the United States. His exact words. That's the president of the United States. What if he got the tattoo removed? What if he got the tattoo covered with a pregnant dog tattoo? I think it's a deal breaker. Denmark is Greenland. Oh. But I thought it was, Donald Trump just said it's an important, that Greenland is an important part of, let's just listen to it again, because that's what he said.
NATO, because Greenland doesn't help Denmark. Denmark doesn't spend money to really help Greenland. But it's an important part of the United States. And it's surrounded by China ships and Russian ships.
It's surrounded by China ships and Russia ships. First I thought he said chips. I think ships, Russia ships and China ships. I think he means Chinese and Russian naval ships.
That's not going to happen. The ships. It's not going to happen. It was Greenland that, and it continues to be. That should be controlled by the United States, not by Denmark. And when they wouldn't go along with it, and with all the money we spend to help them with Russia, we don't have to spend any money. We could remove all of our soldiers out of Europe. Because as you probably noticed, Europe's a very different place than it was 20 years ago. Much different, much different. And they're going to be careful. With immigrants.
Just made me think, did a while back, just not so long ago, America withdrew all of their troops from Poland. Did any troops go back? They said it was, but JD Vance said it was just a delay of rotation. Did any troops rotate back into Poland? They halted the deployment of 4,000 incoming soldiers as of July 2026. It has not been set for these delayed replacements to arrive. Yeah, so it's a delayed rotation, and it still has not So we have withdrawn 4,000 troops. Okay. So we're already withdrawing troops from Europe.
And energy. If they're not careful with those two things, you're not going to have a Europe anymore.
You know, immigration and energy.
Fuck it, I love Joe Scarborough, man. It's so funny. I used to hate Joe Scarborough because he murdered his assistant, and he was a Republican congressman. But these days, he's a Republican, but at least he makes sense a lot of the time. At least he's like, I feel like he's just like, I disagree with him politically on so many things, but on this Donald Trump thing, it's nice to see even this murderous Republican being like, what?
See, here's the thing. When Donald Trump betrayed Ukraine, and he betrayed Ukraine because he didn't want to offend Vladimir Putin, what did he do? He made Ukraine less dependent on the United States. And what did they do because of that? Well, they created the future of warfare. And what Donald Trump doesn't understand, and J.D. Vance doesn't understand, and all those other idiots.
Well, was he a murderer? I mean, like, remind me what the controversy was with Joe Scarborough and his the dead assistant or dead secretary. I don't remember all the details. 2001 death of Lori Klausutis, a 28-year-old staffer who worked at MSNBC host Joe Scarborough's Florida congressional office. An autopsy found she suffered from an undiagnosed heart condition, causing her to pass out and fatally hit her head. Authorities ruled the death an accident and found no evidence of foul play. But there was a conspiracy theory that the tragedy was weaponized as an unfounded conspiracy theory, suggesting that Scarborough was responsible for her death. President Donald Trump frequently amplified these rumors on social media to attack Scarborough, a frequent critic of his administration. Trump called the 2001 event an unsolved mystery and suggested Scarborough got away with murder. Despite the widower's pleas, Twitter initially refused to delete Donald Trump's tweet about PolitiFact. Checked that the claim was rated pants on fire, confirming the death was purely an accident. But Timothy Klausutis, the widower, wrote a heartfelt letter to Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey asking for the president's tweets to be removed. In the letter published by the New York Times, he stated that Trump had taken his wife's memory and perverted it for perceived political gain. So it's become kind of a joke that Scarborough's all that happened was that Scarborough's staffer fell over and died. She just died in her office. Like, she fell over, hit her head, died because she had some heart problem. It happens. My mom died like that. She didn't die with her head. She didn't know she was having a heart attack. She died because she thought she had COVID. They told her not to go to the hospital, and then she died. But she was 28, so it was a little weird. But they did an autopsy, and it turns out that she died of a heart attack, basically. A heart attack that made her pass out, and then she hit her head, and she died of those injuries. Now, Donald Trump calls Joe Scarborough a murderer, and then the widower said, please take that down because Donald Trump is perverting my wife's memory, and they won't take it down. So, no, he isn't a murderer. But Donald Trump calls him a murderer. Get it? Donald Trump has called Scarborough a murderer because Joe Scarborough disagrees with Donald Trump and criticizes Donald Trump. It's an unsolved mystery. Joe Scarborough murdered that girl. It's fucked up, right?
That went to Ivy League schools, didn't understand. I mean, I'm really shocked. I went to Southern State schools. Even I understand this, which is my way of saying maybe they shouldn't have gone to Ivy League schools. Maybe next time, try Southern State schools. But what they don't understand is we don't have troops in Europe to help Europe. Mm-hmm. We don't do U.S. aid across Africa just to help Africa. We do it because in helping Africa, we help ourselves. They say, hey, thanks for the grain. But
I mean, I don't know who. Let's talk about all the horrible things your president has done that you choose to turn a blind eye to because you're a horrible person. I don't choose to turn my blind eye to anything. What horrible thing? Let's do it. Time for street justice. You want to call in? Call in. Here, I'll put a call. You can call and tell me tell me all the horrible things that you think what did I turn a blind eye to? Here you go. Boom. Call in show. Here you go. It's going to be a call in show. If you want, call in. Let me know. Let's talk about it. I love it. Please. Are you talking to me? I hope you're talking to me. Go ahead. Get in there, baby. Get in there, baby doll. Get in there. Let's make this happen. What if your kid can put yourself in those parents' play? Can you look outside your racism and have feelings for those parents who lost their children on this? What are you guys talking about? Trump is the greatest president ever. Wow. I don't know what you're talking about. Which president? I can't wait to find out. Please call in. I love it.
By the way, ISIS is recruiting down the street. And in Europe, they're dependent on us. And by being dependent on us, it has created, since the end of World War II, a massive market. And I hate to break it to Donald Trump, and I hate to break it to J.D. Vance. And I know they don't have authoritarian leaders that can bribe them because they're Western democracies. But Europe, with Great Britain, has the second largest economy on the planet. And as I have been saying for 5 years now to these stupid people that act like history started on January the 20th of whatever term Donald Trump's term started, we, combined with Europe, create a GDP every year that's over $50 trillion, twice as much as China's, and about 40 times as much as Russia's.
Well, they don't care about that because they want to give it to the billionaires. Great, we make all that wealth. Let's just give it to 900 guys.
And listen, as much as I would love to say that everything we do out of the goodness of our hearts, that's just not the case.
Oh, Time for Street Justice is talking about. I didn't know what you were talking about. Time. Are you a friendly? I can't tell. I couldn't tell if you were a friendly Time for Street Justice.
Do it because it helps them, but also because it helps us. And when Donald Trump cuts us off from the world, Donald Trump, he didn't hurt Ukraine, actually. He forced them to innovate and become the future of warfare. He's now going to do the same thing to Europe and make America weaker. I swear to God, I wish the guy would just listen to Ronald Reagan's farewell speech to America one time. Just one time. Let's make it.
He doesn't have the time. He's too busy reading Hitler's speeches.
Now, author and staff writer for The Atlantic, Ann Applebaum, also U.S. national editor and columnist at Financial Times, Ed Lucet, isn't doing too well. He's not doing too well because
I swear to God, man, every man needs a Micah. She's incredible. I need to find a Micah, just like a badass woman who's got my back. My Bonnie. I need a Bonnie. Clyde ain't nothing without a Bonnie. I can never find a Bonnie. I always find, these unloyal. I need Micah, man. Do a show. We'll do a show together. She's great.
According to the New York Post, accused rapist Graham Plattner is now, quote, holding the Democratic Party hostage after the latest allegations of sexual
You're a Mike. She's the best, right?
assault. Nearly everyone in the Democratic Party, even Bernie Sanders, has called on Plattner to leave Maine's Senate race. But Plattner has stubbornly refused to step aside. Based on multiple reports, the embattled socialist and accused rapist.
Is Kellyanne Conway getting younger? What is she doing? Is this AI? Is Kellyanne Conway getting younger? She looks younger. She looks like younger than she does the first term. Maybe Donald Trump just ages these women. I don't know. She looks younger today than she did back in 2020 or 2016 or whatever. I think 2016 is when I found out who Kellyanne Conway is. 2016. She looks younger now than she did in 2016.
Has refused to drop out unless he gets to hand select his replacement. The Democratic Party now has less than 1 week to force Plattner's hand and get him off that ballot.
Like this?
Joining us now with the reaction from the other side of the aisle, Republican Senator from
I don't
Louisiana.
know. My favorite senator. I knew there was a reason why I picked this, and it wasn't Kellyanne Conway. Now, Kellyanne, you are looking good for a woman with a facelift. Who, if you're telling me she got a facelift, she's got an incredible surgeon. Her face looks fantastic. Hold on a second. She looks amazing. If that's a facelift, I think she's bathing in baby's blood. That's my first assumption, not facelift. I think she's bathing in the blood of children. But I don't know. She looks amazing. You think it's a filter? Hold on, let me turn on my filter. No, I'm not going to turn on a filter. Maybe the makeup artist over at Fox News just figured out her color or something. Like they just figured it out over at Fox. They do their makeup pretty well, I guess. I don't know.
And get him off that ballot. Joining us now with the reaction from the other side of the aisle, Republican Senator from Louisiana.
Now, I don't know how old Kellyanne Conway is. How old is Kellyanne Conway? She is 59 years old. But let me tell you, I'll tell you right now. Okay, now check this out. This is Kellyanne Conway. This is like 2017. She looks older here in 2017 than she does. If she had a facelift, they did an amazing job. That's all I'm saying. Because she does not look like a Mar-a-Lago face. This is her in 2017 on her Wikipedia page. And today, this is what she looks like. No, I'm just joking. Now she looks like Senator John Kennedy. Anyway, she's 59, dude. 59, dude. She's doing something right. Maybe she went vegan.
Senator John Kennedy. Senator Kennedy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. So I won't miss looking at Graham Plattner's Nazi tattoo, which is odious, his nipple right next to it, which is disgusting, and his wedding ring flashing next to both of them, which is a mockery. And I'm sure you won't miss serving with him in the United States Senate. But Senator Kennedy, tell me if more of your Democratic colleagues...
Did she have her Adam's apple shaved? I mean, even her voice sounds high. Is this the same person? What did they do with Kellyanne Conway? This is not Kellyanne Conway, right? Even her voice sounds different. She sounds like she's 20 years younger. She's 10 years older. She sounds and looks 20 years younger.
...going to come forward and say it was a mistake and that they regret actually endorsing this complete disaster of a man?
Well, good question, Kellyanne. With respect to to Mr. Plattner, he was nominated by the Hamas wing.
The Hamas wing. God, I love this guy. Yeah, the Hamas wing. He was over the ding dang do. He came over here and he came over to Lick Law. You don't know what you doing over here at the Lick Law. You can't come over here.
Of the Democratic Party, which is in control. With respect to the new allegations or revelations about him, I, of course, was completely shocked. Who could possibly have seen this coming? It's not like there were signs or something. I tell you who saw it coming. Every American who was paying attention and who has...
I saw it coming. I saw it coming. John Kennedy, I saw it coming.
An IQ above a toaster knew that this guy's motherboard was fried.
Everyone with an IQ above the toaster, everyone with a higher IQ than a toaster saw that this man's motherboard was fried.
My colleague, Senator Schumer...
It was fricasseed. It was fricasseed like a chicken in November.
Who can't even cook a cheeseburger.
Can't even cook a cheeseburger with a toaster. My IQ is higher than a cheeseburger.
Number two, as an aside, you're not going to beat Susan Collins in Maine with Graham Plattner or otherwise.
I don't know there, Senator. I don't know. She's a very old bat. She needs to go. Susan Collins got to go. Her like palsy head and everything. She's doing this the whole time. She got to go. She got to go.
There's a reason that she's been a United States Senator from Maine since God was a baby.
I said God was a baby. Yeah, that's a problem, Senator. We don't want you fuckers sticking around for so long. That's a big problem. She's been 30 years. How long is Susan Collins? I've looked it up in the past. How long has Susan Collins been in office? Survey says 29 years. And she'll be 36 years. She's been since 1997. She has been in office. 5 terms so far.
The people like her. They respect her toughness. If you get between Susan and what's best for Maine and America, she will devour you like a light snack. And the people of Maine like that.
Like a light snack. She don't do it right.
I guess the third point, Kellyanne.
Yeah, sorry. You're spitting this yarn, man. This is on 1.5 speed, and he's still takes forever.
I was just going to say, my third point is that the Hamas wing of the Democratic Party is about to do the same thing in Michigan.
Yes.
They're going to nominate for the Senate this guy, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed. They all believe the same thing. They stand for the same thing. Kill all the millionaires, open all the prisons.
Sounds good.
Open the border.
Like it.
Defund the police, defund
Nice.
ICE.
Okay.
Every single one of them knows the words to the Cuban national anthem.
Wait a second. I don't know the words to the Cuban national anthem.
They're all neo-socialists. Now, unless...
Better than a national socialist.
Unless you were playing Frisbee in the quad during history class or economics class, you know the list. You know that the list of countries that have tried socialism and rejected it is it's as long as King Kong's genitalia. I mean, it's not just Cuba.
It's as long as King Kong's genitalia. It's as long as Arnold Palmer's slong. It's as long as Skyjack Morgan's epic fury. It is long. I'm saying, how long is it? It's longer than a... This guy just made a dick joke. Senator John Kennedy is digging at the bottom of the barrel now. Senator John Kennedy is telling folksy dick jokes over on Fox News, y'all. This is why Fox News is so good. Everyone's like, Sky, why do you watch Fox News so much? Because they're telling dick jokes over at Fox News. And everybody, you wonder why old people love Fox News? Because of this guy. Because of this guy getting on the news every day. I'm a senator, and somehow I always have time to talk to my Fox News folks, and I got new Southern witticisms that I'm about to unveil. I do declare, yeah, they all know the words to the Cuban national anthem, and their problems, their list of grievances against the United States of America longer than King Kong's genitalia. The fuck?
That the list of countries that have tried socialism and rejected it is it's as long as King Kong's genitalia. I mean,
I guarantee you this guy hates black people because he thinks they got big dicks. I guarantee you. I guarantee it. He probably watches like BBC videos because it's the only way he can. He's like crying while he's doing it.
And it's not just Cuba.
He's a gooner. He's a crying gooner.
It's the USSR. It's China. It's Vietnam. It's Argentina. It's Venezuela.
Wait, hold on a second. Argentina, Vietnam, Venezuela, USSR. Those guys didn't reject that.
Wait, I can keep going.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I need to know all of the list of countries longer than King Kong's genitalia. Keep it going.
For my party, this makes me happy. For my country, it makes me sad. Yes. And I'll end on this note. Look, in America, you're entitled to believe what you want, but I'm entitled to believe what I want.
And I believe that all y'all should be hanged if you criticize Donald Trump.
And I think that the members of the Hamas wing of the Democratic Party, who are firmly in control of the party, are the reason that it took our ancestors thousands of years to learn to stand upright.
That was a very topical. Go into prehistory, huh? The reason why the Hamas wing is so bad is because they kept our ancestors from walking upright 10,000 years ago. Okay? And I do appreciate a man with good posture. I do declare. If you got good posture, you know I'm for you and you're for me.
And that's what I think.
Well, we love what you think, and we love the way you say it.
I take back what I said about genitalia. I probably shouldn't have said that.
Keep it going. More dick jokes. We bring it. We love it.
It's quite the visual in what began as a grandpa.
Quite the visual. Kellyanne Conway's. It's quite the visual. I'm imagining King Kong's genitalia. I've seen all the King Kong movies, and they never got his dick out. Why not? I want to answer this question. How come none of the King Kong movies answer the question, how long is his genitalia? You know, what's funny is that you think that a gorilla has a really big penis, but it turns out the average penis size of a gorilla is like 2 or 3 inches. They're quite small, actually. Quite small. But, you know.
Segment. So he's giving us plenty of material. Senator, I'm glad you mentioned your colleague, Senator Susan Collins of Maine. She has served since 1997. She's had 40,000 consecutive votes, never missed a vote, just hit that mark.
Oh, yeah. If a Democratic senator had said that stuff, they would remove him from office. How dare you? How dare you? To a woman, you would make such a joke? Oh, you made that joke in the presence of a lady, sir. How dare you?
On June 4th. She's delivered for Maine, and she votes with President Trump anywhere from 90 to 95% of the time. I credit her with single-handedly saving the Brett Kavanaugh nomination. I was in the White House at the time, running point on that as a communicator, and her speech was one for the ages. I hope folks will study it. But thank you for mentioning her, because she is in the seat. She is the incumbent. This is not a...
Susan Collins. I have old people palsy. I'm so old and I really should not be in office. I've been here for 30 years and I want 6 more years to be a senator.
Referendum on her. It's a choice between Senator Susan Collins and whoever the Democrats put up, and whoever it is, Senator Kennedy, was supporting Graham Plattner. You betcha. I want to talk a little bit about your colleague, Pocahontas. She went all out for this guy, Graham Plattner. She said, quote, he's my kind of man. I don't know what her husband thinks of that, but was this just another feather in her cap or headdress for Pocahontas?
I don't know, because I just watched Jubilee, and they asked all the women there, who of you would sleep with Donald Trump? And they all were like, USA, USA, I want to have sex with Donald Trump.
Why can they not choose good quality candidates that love America and reject socialism and are proud to serve this country? I'm worried about this lurch to the left. I think it's taking on in some places, taking hold in some places like Michigan, like Wisconsin, like Colorado, that's not New York City.
You should be worried because you're part of the National Socialist Party, and the Democratic Socialists kill Nazis. So, historically, it's National Socialism versus Democratic Socialism. They don't like each other. And historically, Nazis don't win. They don't win for long. They win in the beginning, and then they lose. It takes a while for everybody to wake up and be like, wait, liberalism is stupid. We got to kill Nazis.
Well, it of course is wonderful for the Republican Party. I mean, our secret plan all along has been let them speak.
Yeah, okay. There's no Republican Party left. It's just MAGA now, and MAGA is National Socialism. So
Let Graham Plattner speak. Let Dr. Abdul El Sayed in Michigan speak. But it's bad for our country, and a reckoning is coming for the Democratic Party. And a lot of my colleagues, most of my colleagues in the United States Senate know better. They could see this about Mr. Plattner.
Don't think
the guy's
so.
a clown. He can't even juggle. He's
a clown who can't even juggle.
Saturday Night Live skit. But once the Hamas wing of the party nominated them, it became raw gut politics. They want to take over the United States Senate.
Just so you know, there's credible evidence and a credible accusation of Graham Plattner for rape. And they're going off about how bad this guy is because of it. But there is credible accusation and evidence that Donald Trump is also a rapist. In fact, Donald Trump has been adjudicated a rapist by a jury. And he took it all the way to Supreme Court to say, nuh-uh. And they said, you're a rapist. The Supreme Court said, Donald Trump, we can't make your rape go away. But they won't talk about that for some reason. For some reason, they never want to talk about that. I don't know why. I don't know why they never want to talk about how Donald Trump's a rapist.
And that's their right, but it's my right to point out that this is bad for my country. And the selfish part of
What's bad for your country? This guy, Graham Plattner, he's not.
says, run, Graham, run. I'll send you a campaign contribution. But
Isn't
the
that
part
what you
of
guys?
me that wants
Isn't that what you guys did for Donald Trump? Run, Trump, run.
I love him. I just think he's the bee's knees. I love rapists. Oh, no, he's a Democrat rapist? I don't like him.
America's future to be better than our present or our past knows that this guy is he's a predator.
Donald Trump admitted to breaking into teenagers' dressing rooms to look at their naked bodies.
Is a predator, and you don't want him anywhere near power.
He's
Like, if you just listen to that statement, you would think he was talking about Donald.
Allegations of abuse and assault and disparaging our military, calling them fat, you deserve to die, said to one of our troops, and the Nazi tattoo, it just goes on, and it never...
Isn't that what Donald Trump's tweets sound like? He's fat and he deserves to die, and that Joe Scarborough's a murderer. I mean, this is the shit that he says all the time. That didn't he say that? What's his name? Killed. What the fuck? Whose father killed Kennedy? What was it? Was it Marco Rubio's father killed Kennedy? Like, Donald Trump says all this crazy shit, and they're like, we love him.
Seemed enough for your
But this guy's Reddit history. That's the problem.
colleagues across the aisle in the Democratic Party to chuck this guy into the latest rounds of allegations, thereby showing Senator Kennedy that for the Democrats, they don't believe all women. They chuck that to the side when you're talking about a swing state. You're not talking about morality here. You're talking about electability. They're not counting up the victims of Graham Plattner's abuse.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is exactly right. The GOP have been eaten by the melanoma MAGA, which is just a fascist. They've always been fat. Like, the Democrats are fascist too, but like straight up Nazi fascists. Like, there's fascism, like big fascists. Like, hey, we make partnerships with corporations and we leave the people out in the cold, and that type of stuff. But then there's also Nazi fascism, and that's like it's like MAGA, right? MAGA is the National Socialist Movement of America, America First. I mean, literally, the fascist party in the 1930s was called America First. It was called the America First Party.
They're counting votes. Senator Kennedy, the one and only. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
All right, thanks for watching. Check out my...
Oh, is it Ted Cruz? Is it Ted Cruz's dad? I thought it was.
Bizarre.
I forget. The point is, if there's legitimacy to it, if you think that Ted Cruz's dad killed Kennedy, that's fine. I mean, whatever. But Donald Trump tweeting it about his political rivals is different. But hey, I like the conspiracy theories. I like all that stuff. Love it. Love it all. I love that shit. Let's see. Look, here's some slaying. Yes, slaying. The LA. Is this the LAPD? I can't tell. Is this the LAPD? KTLA 5. Yeah. So the LAPD is slaying somebody. I see a dog. Who is that dog going to kill? I see a Waymo. I don't know. What's going to happen here?
Seen in San Mateo Monday afternoon when 2 teens were detained after.
Oh my God. What is that? What is that gun? What is that gun? What is that thing?
Bizarre scene in San Mateo Monday afternoon when 2.
What is that? It looks like a fun little gun.
Teens were detained after their Waymo called police on them.
Powerade. Uh-oh. What's it got? What's in that Powerade?
Police say the Waymo stopped the car and alerted officers that its 2 underage passengers were drinking alcohol and appeared to be shooting guns out of the moving vehicle.
KTLA's Mary Beth McDade live in Hollywood with details on the unusual arrest.
Venmo's calling the cops on people?
Straight out of the future. MB.
Yeah, Mike and Jared, it appears that 2 15-year-olds made a lot of bad decisions. And
God, my ex-wife's name was Mary Beth MB, fucking redneck.
According to the Waymo website, these 2 15-year-olds should have never even been inside the car in the first place. It says that no one under the age of 18 is allowed to ride in the car without being accompanied by an adult in the state of California.
Maybe they shouldn't have opened the door for them, I guess. You're not allowed to be an unaccompanied minor in the state of California in a Waymo. I like that. I like that idea. I don't know. It looks like, is everyone a member of the public? Only 71% of you think that everyone is a member of the public. 30% of you are Nazis. I love it. You should just ask everybody. If anybody ever, you think someone's a Nazi, just ask them, who counts as a member of the public?
And as for that alcohol, well, no one is allowed to have alcohol inside the car, no matter what the age. San Mateo police can be seen surrounding a Waymo car Monday afternoon. They detained 2 15-year-olds who were apparently...
I mean, she was a redneck. What am I going to do, man? She's a fucking redneck. But look, I dodged a bullet. I saw a picture of her recently. I mean, be thankful, be grateful. Hey, gentlemen and ladies too, if you're feeling bad because you're going through a divorce and you think it's the end, you think like, oh, it's the worst thing that ever going to happen to you and all that. It's not. There will be worse things to happen, but also it's not that bad. It gets better. If you're going through it, it gets better. It gets way better. My life has been monumentally better since my divorce. Like fucking exponentially better. Yeah. I'm not sure who would not be part of the public. Exactly. Why wouldn't everybody be part of the public? Well, if you're a MAGger, you think that black people aren't members of the public. If you're a MAGger, you might think that immigrants aren't a member of the public, that the public good should not affect us all, that if you are collecting taxes for the benefit of the public, that it shouldn't be for everybody. It should only be for certain members of the public. That's how you get National Socialism.
Riding around in the driverless car, drinking alcohol, and shooting a gun out the window.
That just sounds American. Driving around. Look, man, if I'm riding around in the back of a robot taxi and I'm shooting out the window, drinking beer, sounds American to me.
They say they were contacted by the car company and informed of the teen's bad behavior.
They saw what they described as a firearm in the vehicle, described it black in color, and at some point believed that the passengers were firing it outside the vehicle, even at one point saying they believed they saw a recoil.
She says the Waymo rep went on to tell them the minors appeared intoxicated.
They had an open bottle of alcohol with them.
Police aren't sure how Waymo discovered the teen's suspicious behavior, but officers worked with the car company to conduct a high-risk traffic stop.
Right, we're getting a call that
high-risk traffic stop because they thought these kids are lucky to be alive. They must not have been black. If these kids walked away alive, they must have been white kids.
They're shooting a firearm, so that's pretty serious.
Waymo made the car pull over and disabled it. Police say the car company then tricked the young riders and told them the car was having mechanical issues.
They tricked them.
And even though the car was disabled, the doors weren't locked. The passengers had the ability to get up and exit and leave if they wanted to, but they ended up staying stationary.
That's when 5 officers arrived and detained the teens. They also discovered the gun was an Orbeez, which shoots water pellets. Although it's a motorized
I don't even know what an Orbeez is. They were shooting water pellets.
toy gun, it can cause injury and damage, and it can look very realistic, especially ones that have been painted over. Police say this post.
It's painted white. It has an orange tip. It's literally painted to not look like a gun. As soon as I saw the orange tip, I was like, oh, that's not a gun. And then I thought I must have been wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. I've never seen a gun like this. but then it's got an orange tip, and I'm like, okay, it's not a real gun. So apparently it's not a real gun.
Is a danger. And the danger really is the other person on the receiving end, right? They might feel threatened. You don't know how they're going to respond. You definitely don't want to put the law enforcement in that type of situation. The incident falls.
We all exist to make the cops' jobs easier. Law enforcement, we don't want to make their jobs harder. Your job is to make their job easy.
Another concerning one in Santa Monica last month, where teens were recorded riding around hanging out the open windows of a Waymo.
Nice. That's America. What's the problem? This is America. If you're in a robot taxi cab and you're not hanging your head out the window, what are you doing? Totally harmless. That's what I figured. They said water BBs. Yeah. Bash that X. It's great. I don't know what that means. Bash that X. What's the problem?
Authorities encourage parents to keep an eye on their teens this summer, so
keep your eye on those teens, kids.
Waymo doesn't have to.
What the fuck? This is a drone. This is a drone.
But Waymo, authorities encourage parents to keep an eye on their teens this summer.
Look at this. Look at all the cameras on this thing. This is just a spy drone. This is a spy drone for the cops. This is a government spy zone drone that is sending its spy camera footage to the data centers all over America. That's why we have to build all these data centers, is for these assholes to take pictures of us. Got to crunch that data. The fuck? Come on. Watch those kids so Waymo doesn't have to. That sounds like straight out of a dystopian sci-fi film. Watch your children so Waymo doesn't have to. What? Make sure your children are playing more Call of Duty. Keep your kids locked up at night. Force them to play Fortnite. Do not let them out of doors. So Waymo is on the job.
Waymo doesn't have to.
We want to give our kids freedom to have fun and enjoy their time off from school, but because they're not in school, just keep an eye on them. Make sure you know where they're at. Make sure you know who they're hanging out with.
Man, if we don't get a good riot this summer, I don't know. We got to get a riot cooking. They usually happen in summer when people are out of school and shit. They start losing their jobs, gets hot outside, your AC gets too expensive to turn on. People start living in the streets, start buying guns. Man, we're waiting for a riot to happen. You think one's going to happen this year? Think we got a big riot coming? Why Waymo will still see your kids even if they're walking near one. Exactly. Just outlaw everything. Yes. they're just spies, just spy cars. Why do we need to stay up to spin in the news? That's a very good job. We don't need to. Exactly.
And authorities are still
Tell me what you think, Mary Beth. Mary Beth, what do you think?
investigating to determine if any charges should be filed. Now, we did reach out to Waymo for comment, but have yet to hear back. For now, reporting live here in Hollywood.
Mary Beth McKay, what you think was going McDade? Mary Beth with McDade. What are you doing out there, Mary Beth?
President Trump, just a short time ago, hours ago, declared that, in his view, the U.S. ceasefire with Iran is over after the two countries traded a barrage of new strikes in just the last 24 hours. Watch this.
Is the ceasefire done? Is the MOU dead?
It's a very interesting question.
Very interesting. Is the MOU dead?
To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore with this scum. You know what scum is?
Do you know what scum is? That's the new poll. Hold on. Do you know what scum is? Do you know what scum is? Do you know what scum is? I don't know. Does it look like you? It looks like you, I think. I think you look like something that I scraped off the bottom of my tub. Soap scum, they call it, but it ain't soap. I don't know why they call it soap scum. It ain't soap. It's black. It's not really black. It's like gray. Why is it called soap scum? It ain't soap scum.
Scum, they're sick people. They're led by sick people.
Sometimes it's orange, sometimes it's pink.
And they're vicious, violent people.
Scum, sometimes it's green. They're vicious and they're violent.
If they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
The memorandum of understanding between the two countries apparently collapsing now as President Trump attends the NATO summit in Turkey. The president has also now reimposed sanctions on Iranian oil sales. That's a key reversal of a big concession that was part of the latest.
Who was the other woman? Who was the famous girl in... Oh, man, I don't remember her name. She was in Herbie, and she was the other, like the nice girl in Mean Girls. What was that girl's name? I forget her name. Was it Lohan? Was that Lindsay Lohan? It's Lindsay Lohan. I wonder what her character... Is it... how is it over for Lindsay Lohan? I mean, she just came out with Freaky Friday Part 3. Is everything? No, for me, it's over. She's over. She's done with. She's scum. Do you know what scum is? She's over. Rosie O'Donnell, she's over. She's vile. She's mean. She's violent. Donald Trump is madder at these Iranians than Rosie O'Donnell. That's a dangerous position.
This ceasefire was part of this memorandum of understanding. Trump also called the negotiations with Iran a waste of time. Overnight, there were large explosions and fires seen at multiple ports in Iran. Those strikes are said to be the U.S. response to Iran launching a series of attacks on commercial ships near the Strait of Hormuz this week. Let's get to CNN's Kristen Holmes. She's live in Turkey for us following the president's travels. Kristen, what are you learning about this right now?
I mean, Kate, President Trump was incredibly angry. He was only meant to do some welcome remarks coming into NATO, and you saw him completely let loose. Part of what he seems to be angry about is this idea that the United States gave some.
We have a word for that these days. It's called unhinged. Grandpa needs his medicine. And you need a nappy poo, Mr. Grandpa. Grandpa needs a nappy poo.
Space to the Iranians so that they would be attending the Supreme Leader's funeral, and then instead they were striking these commercial vessels. So now you have him saying that he believes the MOU is over, but he did leave the door open for potential negotiations, which is making a lot of this much murkier. Take a listen to what he said.
They want to negotiate. They're good people. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, but they have to come back to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. They're liars. They're bad people.
They're liars. They're mean. They're bad. God damn it. He sounds like Regina George. That's why I was thinking of Lindsay Lohan. See, Regina George, I forget who played that. Was that Rachel McAdams? Is that her name? I forget who plays Regina George. He sounds like Mean Girls.
And frankly, I don't want to waste my time with them.
And later he called them lying guys. He said they were cancer that needed to be cut out. They were evil and sick. And you can just see this.
I hate them so much. I hate them. I want to skin them alive. I want to eat their children. I want to take out their guts with a spoon and feed it to my dog. I don't have a dog. I'll buy a dog if I got to get one. I'll feed him to Melania. She's a bitch. She won't even touch my hand. She won't even hold my hand. I'll feed the guts to Melania. You know, she's a foreigner. She's a foreigner. They'll eat anything, those foreigners. Those immigrants, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, the immigrants, they're eating the pets, the people who live there. Let's feed the Iranians to the Melania.
From President Trump, who really has had this war in Iran hanging over most of his presidency now for much longer than he anticipated.
I want to bring in now Kurt Volker, former U.S. ambassador to NATO. Thank you so much for being here on what is now turning into an eventful day. The president saying that the ceasefire that they had negotiated, their memorandum of understanding, is over after some attacks on ships in the Strait of Hormuz. I want to play a bit for the president for you to hear, and then we'll talk on the other side.
They can talk, but I think they're wasting their time. Frankly, I don't want to waste my time with them.
I don't want to waste my time. I got lots of golfing to do. I could just golf, or I could talk with Iran about a war that I started. Should I do something? I really want to talk to you. I don't want to do nothing. I'm not going to talk to you. Give them the silent treatment. Give them the silent treatment. She is not. They are not allowed to sit at our table anymore.
Iran war not ending anytime soon. We all knew that, though, right? We knew that there's no such thing. Ask the Navajo if a ceasefire can be trusted with the United States. Ask anybody if a ceasefire with the United States is ever real.
Now, I'll let our wonderful negotiators keep talking if they want, but I don't see it.
Okay, Ambassador, you know what it's like to have to keep talking. What does this mean for people who had been tasked with continuing this conversation?
Right. I think President Trump is just trying to ratchet up the visible frustration, try to put more pressure on the Iranians, see if he can get them back to a situation where they're not attacking anything. What happened is the Iranians attacked some vessels that were trying to go through the Omani side of the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranians don't want that. They want them to go through Iranian waters where they can gradually establish a regime of control. Of course, we don't want that. But the problem is that we may want it or not want it, but if we are not prepared militarily, physically, to defeat the regime and prevent them from doing this sort of thing, this is where this is going to go. I don't think President Trump really wants to restart the war. He may get forced into it, but I don't think he really wants.
Forced into it? This guy started it. He started the war. And now the Strait of Hormuz is up for grabs. Guess what? It's going to take 20 years before the Strait of Hormuz is kosher again. It's going to be haram. Strait of Hormuz is haram. By the way, the Strait of Hormuz is 21 miles wide. It's not international waters. That's their shit. International waters starts 200 miles off the coast of your country. It's an international waterway because everyone likes to use it, but it's only 21 miles. That means it's only 12 miles of Iran water and 12 miles of Oman water. You get it? 12 miles of Iran water and 12 miles of Oman water. You get it? 12 miles of Iran water and 12 miles of Oman water. You get it? 12 miles of Iran water and 12 miles of Oman water. You get it? 12 miles of Iran water and 12 miles of Oman water. You get it? It's really easy for them. Oh, we're not going to go in Iran water. We're only going to go in these 12 miles over here. That's Oman. We're not going to fuck with the Iranian. All right, fine. We can bomb you. You're really close. I can see you. It's 12 miles away. You get high enough up, you could see 12 miles easily. You ever been standing on the ocean? You can see way longer than 12 miles. You get up high enough, I can see Catalina. Catalina's 26 miles away, which means if you're standing on the coast of Iran, you can see the coast of Oman. That's how close these fuckers are. Donald Trump's going to get forced into it.
Is the ceasefire done? Is the MOU dead?
It's a very interesting question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum.
I love watching how the different networks are editing this shit.
You know what scum is? They're scum.
Do you know what scum is? They're scum.
They're sick people.
Why does he ask that? Do you know what scum is? What a fucking weirdo. Is that a big word for you, Donald? Do you think that people don't know what scum is? Why is that? It's such a weird thing to say.
They're sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
Wait, so this is about nuclear weapons? Or is it about the Strait of Hormuz and oil?
That was President Trump just moments ago in Turkey, saying the ceasefire with Iran is over amid renewed fighting in the region. Good morning. Welcome to Way Too Early. I'm Ali Vitale on this Wednesday, July 8th. And we're going to start with that breaking news overseas because there are growing tensions across the Middle East this morning after the U.S. launched a new round of powerful strikes against Iran. More than 80 sites were targeted, including Iranian air defense systems and radars, in response to Iranian attacks on 3 commercial vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Central Command released this footage late last night as U.S. officials called the Iranian attacks, quote, unwarranted, dangerous, and a clear violation of the ceasefire agreement. Now, before those strikes took place, the U.S. Treasury Department also reimposed sanctions on Iranian oil. That move caused oil prices to jump yesterday. Overnight, Iran responded by targeting U.S. military sites in both Kuwait and Bahrain. Iranian leaders warned the country.
What's oil at today? What's a barrel of oil cost today? $79 a barrel. It went from, it was almost down to 70. Now it's at $79. So it's absolutely going to affect the price of gasoline.
The country would take whatever measures it deems necessary, they said, in retaliation to the new U.S. strikes, raising new fears that the repeatedly violated ceasefire could collapse and reignite a wider regional conflict. I want to go right to the ground in Ankara, Turkey. Pentagon reporter for Politico, Paul McCleary, is there. Paul, the president now saying that the memorandum of understanding is off the table. The ceasefire, to his mind, is over. At another point then, during that brief Q&A, he said they can keep talking, they can keep negotiating. So where do things actually stand?
That's a great question. I mean, this took everyone by surprise. We figured Trump would come here and complain about Greenland, complain about Spain, things like that. But we didn't really expect him to say the ceasefire was over here. As far as he was concerned, it was over. But the fighting last night and yesterday was more intense than we'd seen in the last couple of weeks. Like there's been attacks back and forth, but for the last few weeks. But for Iran to hit U.S. military sites and then those large U.S. airstrikes, and the president to say this today, it kind of turns everything on its head and really raises questions about how long this is going to go on and what comes next.
This is basically 30 minutes old since the president said that in his mind the ceasefire is over. But I wonder if you're hearing any.
It's so crazy to me. Like it's never going to be over.
This morning, the rush to stabilize.
It's going to be for the rest of your life.
It's a building under construction in Midtown Manhattan after support columns buckled, sparking fears of a catastrophic collapse.
We have columns partially down on 21 and 22, and we have floors sagging.
Look at this
21
shit.
and 26.
The first call came just before 8 a.m. Tuesday for bricks falling from the building. Workmen noticed the buckled columns, multiple cracks, and the floors beginning to sag. This video, obtained by ABC News, shows some of the warped metal.
Damn.
There's some 40-year members on that job who have never seen an I-beam bend in half. That's not supposed to happen. No, that's not supposed to happen.
Construction workers evacuated, then neighboring buildings, including 2 hotels, offices, and a school, emptied. Streets around the building shut down, bumper-to-bumper traffic stretched for blocks. For a time, the compromised building appeared to lean.
The way this building is constructed, it's a steel frame building, so it would not be a total collapse. It would be more of a localized collapse, but that remains our concern.
I don't know, man. Don't look good. Don't look good. Why would that happen? Turns out somebody paid off another guy, and they used some more the uncle's steel business, and they made some I-beams back in the day that weren't quite all steel. You know what I mean? They're part aluminum.
That is moving.
The building, formerly the headquarters of the pharmaceutical giant Pfizer, is being converted into apartments. It's the largest such conversion in city history. The developer said the columns likely bent under the weight of additional floors added to the East Side high-rise.
Once the immediate stabilization occurs, they have to look at the other columns around it and see if they're prone to the same thing happening. They're probably going to shore more than just the failed column.
Damn, bro. You didn't think about that before you started building on this old piece of shit?
They should shore everything above to the best they can. It's easier said than done. This is a very tricky situation.
In the last year, the building has logged 7 violations, from unsafe building demolition to debris falling from high heights, resulting in more than $32,000 in fines. Overnight, workmen installed new steel columns and expressed confidence the building is no longer at risk of imminent collapse, but it is not yet fully stable, Robin. Once it is, they'll determine how those columns failed and a long-term fix.
God, can you imagine that fucking, like a building just tipping over in New York City? God, they'll blame the Iranians, right? Blame the Iranians. It's the Iranian, they're vile, they're scum. Do you know what scum is? Do you know what a building is? Do you know what it is? Do you know what a building is? Maybe he looked at a person. She's like, is the MOU over? Maybe she was a brown person. He's like, do you know what scum is? Brown person? Do you speak the English? Maybe that's why he was. I keep on trying to think, why would Donald Trump say, do you know what scum is? But then I realize he's in Turkey. So maybe he couldn't tell if the person that wasn't a white person asking the question. So he assumed she must not speak English very well. And so he's like, do you know what scum means? Do you know what this word means? They're vile, they're evil, they're scum. Do you know what that means? Had to be, right? That's got to be, that's the only explanation. Right? That's the only explanation, I think. He thought that they were still standing because planes didn't. Maybe that's what it is, yes. Yeah. Don't they blame Mamdani? Oh, they would blame Mamdani. They're already blaming Mamdani, I'm sure, right? I'm sure. They're converting this building into high-rise apartments, so it must be Mamdani's fault.
All right, today is day 3 of the preliminary hearing for Charlie Kirk's accused assassin, Tyler Robinson. After the defense and prosecution were seen sparring over DNA evidence in the case.
Chanley Painter was inside the courtroom in Utah yesterday, joins us live outside the courthouse ahead of today's continuation of the hearing. Chan.
Yeah, we are expecting day 3 today, but yesterday the prosecution's evidence involved never-before-seen surveillance video and, of course, the all-important DNA evidence. So earlier in the day, prosecutors offered a really compelling compilation of surveillance.
Is that him? Are you sure that's him?
Images appearing to show the accused before, during, and after the Charlie Kirk killing. A video played on a monitor showed a car believed to belong to Robinson entered the campus. At first, a man is seen wearing shorts, but later he's changed into long pants and walked.
He's got pants on. He's got shorts on. He's got a car. He doesn't have a car. Is this evidence? Is this damning?
With a limp. He's wearing the same shoes, but prosecutors believe Robinson actually carried that murder weapon down his pant leg on his way to where Charlie.
Don't look like he's got a. You tell me he's got a rifle in his pants?
He's wearing the same shoes, but prosecutors believe Robinson actually.
There's a rifle in those. He must be super skinny. He's got really skinny legs. You're telling me he's got a gun in there? I don't know, man. Every time I carry my sight, every time I carry a pistol, you could definitely see a pistol.
Carried that murder weapon down his pant leg on his way to where Charlie Kirk was. And then we also heard from a forensic evidence expert. She testified about the DNA from both Robinson and his roommate, Lance Twiggs. And several items that were found at the crime scene were tested and they were found near the shooting, including a screwdriver, a towel that was wrapped
Screwdriver. They mean orange juice and vodka. They were drinking screwdrivers up there.
around the suspected murder weapon. All came back as showing the DNA of both Robinson and Twiggs. So
what was the DNA? I wonder. What was that? What were they using that towel for before?
get this, we were able to actually hear from
I don't know. I probably got my DNA on towels all around the world.
a defense witness late yesterday afternoon. I was in the courtroom, and it really did give us a glimpse into what their strategy may be in this case moving forward. But they called a forensic.
Is that a 30-06 in your trousers, or are you just happy to see me? They say it was a 30-06, right? They said it was a 30-06. Maybe it wasn't a 30-06. Is that what they're saying the gun was? 30-06 is a big bullet, right? I've never fired a 30-06. I don't think. I fired lots of. I don't think so. I don't think. If I have, I don't remember it. I fired lots of different guns in my life. I don't think I've ever fired a 30-06.
Expert to really challenge the DNA evidence, and they had to call her out of order because she had to go travel after court. But Amanda Baker testified to basically the general limitations of DNA technology. Take a look.
She cannot distinguish, and I believe she'll testify, she cannot distinguish based on the testing that she did in at least 5 separate locations, whether the evidence sample and Mr. Robinson's sample, or for that matter, Mr. Twiggs' sample, matches the sequence differences here.
So on cross-examination, though, of this witness, prosecutors, they came on strong. They clarified just how her conclusion.
It's not a cannon, but it's quite big. Like, how large is a 30-06 in comparison with other popular calibers? A 30-06 Springfield long action cartridge measuring 3.34 inches in overall length. That's a big bullet with a case capacity of roughly 68 grains of water. It is significantly larger in both case length and powder capacity than short action or medium rounds, allowing it to push heavy projectiles at high velocities. 30-06 uses the same 308-inch diameter bullet as several other popular rounds, but its larger case gives it distinctly different performance characteristics. A 308 Winchester is considerably smaller and more compact, 2.8 inches. A 270 Winchester, based on a neck-down 30-06 case, it is the exact same overall length, but fires smaller, lighter bullets. A 300 Winchester Magnum-sized behemoth, it measures 3.34 inches in length, like the 30-06, but features a belted, highly flared case that holds significantly more powder, yielding much higher velocity. 30-30 Winchesters, much shorter rimmed cartridge, 2.5 inches. Okay, so I guess it's fair to say 30-06 is quite large. Uses the same other, but has a much more powder and gives it a distinctly different performance characteristics. It can push heavier rounds, greater velocities. Okay. I'm not an expert of the, like, I'm a gun owner, but I don't know all these things. Like, 30-06 seems like a big weapon to me. And the way that guy's neck exploded like a fucking Pez dispenser, I think it was quite large. I thought 5.56. How about like NATO rounds? How does it compare to a NATO round? How does a 30-06 compare to a NATO round? It's larger, more powerful, and longer range than a NATO round, often referred to as the 308 Winchester. While both fire 30-inch diameter, 0.3-inch diameter bullets, the 30-06 has a longer case and higher powder capacity, generating roughly 100 to 200 more feet per second in velocity and up to 15% more energy. All right. It's definitely more intense than a 5.56 or whatever. So, like, most people fire NATO rounds, 9mm, 44s, 45s. Like, I don't know. Like, this is a big gun.
The strength of her conclusions, and then also not only was it a mixed sample of Twiggs and Robinson, but that Robinson's DNA was clearly the majority of that sample. Watch.
The results are from 8-1.
I mean, we all know that he actually died of a fentanyl overdose. It's not really, I guess I'm not really talking about what killed Charlie Kirk, but whether this kid had a high-powered rifle in his pants.
30 quintillion times more likely if Twiggs and T. Robinson are contributors than if Twiggs and an unknown, unrelated person are contributors. The adjective you're allowed to use is very strong support for inclusion again, correct?
Yes. So, of course, inside the courtroom, in the gallery, we had the family of Charlie Kirk, the family of Tyler Robinson. But there was this moving moment when Erica Kirk she got up and handed a tissue to a member of the public who had started crying. That woman actually spoke to the AP saying this quote, she, referring to Erica, doesn't know that I'm Team Erica or not, yet she handed me a tissue and I lost it. She didn't know if I was a friend or not, and she showed love. So that's sort of a glimpse inside the courtroom. It's very somber in there in the gallery as evidence comes in. We do expect family and, of course, supporters to be back to try to get into court this afternoon. And guys, it starts a little later today, so it'll start 1 local, 3 p.m. Eastern.
We will be watching. Chanley, thank you. With that, let's bring in constitutional attorney and former member of President Trump's transition team, Mark Smith. And Mark, you heard Chanley there spending a lot of time discussing the DNA evidence. Objections by the prosecution to that DNA evidence attack by the defense were plentiful. This begs the question, Mark, which is so frustrating to me, and I think a lot of attorneys watching this from afar. Why is the judge letting the defense treat this like a trial when you well know most preliminary hearings, including in federal court, don't last more than 20 minutes, Mark?
Todd, I think what's going on here is sort of like a negotiation within this preliminary hearing over whether or not.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. A 5.56 is still a high power rifle, right? I mean, a 5.56 is what people like your standard. It's one of the most popular bullet sizes because it's a NATO round, right? NATO, they stockpile it. 9mm and 5.56. I think, I could be wrong, but I think they're the most manufactured. And I'll just fucking. Are 5.56s and 9mm the biggest or most manufactured and most stockpiled bullet size in the world? No. They are military and self-defense cartridges globally, though. 5.56 is an intermediate rifle cartridge. It's asking about size. I shouldn't say biggest. Stockpile standard. 9mm are highly stockpiled. Yes, frequently agree that stockpiling these two calibers provides a well-rounded setup for both handguns and carbines. It's often cited as the most produced. Okay, so 9mm is the most produced. Sorry, the word biggest messed it up. The biggest is 22. All right. The most popular is 22. The most manufactured is 22. Makes perfect sense. 9mm is the most manufactured center fire. Okay. 5.56 are highly stockpiled, and Reddit preppers frequently agree that stockpiling 5.56s and 9mm well-rounded setup. Okay, so that makes perfect sense because I keep my bullets are mostly 9mm because I don't shoot 5.56. But all my friends who have big guns, they all have 5.56 and they keep 5.56. So I don't know. Look, I don't know. Do we really want to talk about guns all day? I guess it matters because Homeboy says that Kashyap Patel is saying that the 30-06 is what blew the shit out of Charlie Kirk's neck. And they're saying that he had a big gun. Like, even if you had a 9mm tactical rifle, because even a 9mm, like a what do they call that thing? It's called like a Henry Homesteader. A Henry Homesteader. I'm not really allowed to show pictures of guns. They always get in trouble if I show pictures. But I think it's called a Henry Homesteader. It's a 9mm tactical rifle. And if I shove that shit down my pants, you would notice. Yeah, carbine. Yeah, it's a carbine.
The prosecution is going to be able to sustain their effort to get the death penalty in this case. So I think one of the reasons why this has taken 5 days is because the defense lawyers are trying to indicate to the prosecutor, look, it's not going to be as easy as you think to win in this case. So let's cut a deal. Let's find a way to get him, potentially, maybe the argument will be, look, let's just agree he will be in prison for life. There'll be no death penalty because it's pretty clear the defense lawyers are working hard to get the death penalty charges out of this case. And part of what may be going on here, Todd, is exactly that sort of dance, if you will, where the defense lawyers are saying, look, we have a lot of ways to poke holes in your prosecution. There's a lot of issues with the ballistics. There's issues with the video evidence. There's issues with the DNA. So do you really want to go through a 2-month trial or whatever it may be? Or can we find some sort of a deal here where we don't have to go through that terrible trial? Again, the prosecution on the...
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I've been saying that since the day they caught him, that there will not be a trial. This is all pre-trial shit. I don't think there's going to be a trial. He's going to get killed, commit suicide, or they're going to make some deal. And you will never hear the truth about what happened that day. That's what's going to happen. You carry a revolver in baggy pants and it clearly prints. I'm telling you, if you carry, you see it. And you're like, when you carry, you're concealing, you're sensitive to it. So maybe you notice it more than other people. But if you had a rifle down your pants, you would see it. I don't know. I don't believe it. Yeah, rifle. Are you happy to see me? Exactly. A SIG and an over-shoulder holster. You could feel it. It's a big, bulky machine. I've only carried in public a couple times in my life. A couple times. And it's like you're well aware that you're carrying it the whole time. At least I was. Maybe other people, they forget that it's there or something. I have never felt that way. I've never felt that way. But hey, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you think I'm crazy. Maybe you think that it's totally normal to have. I don't think so, though. I just don't believe it, dude. I don't think this guy did it. But hey.
This morning, we are following a deadly shooting involving an ICE agent in Houston's East End.
Yeah, we've seen the reaction from members of the community, from local leaders, and also from national organizations. Now our Trayson Bragg joined us live from the scene of that shooting with surveillance video and details we have confirmed from the Department of Homeland Security. Trayson.
That's right, Jacob. Well, that deadly ICE-involved shooting took place right here behind me along Canal Street yesterday morning. And here's what we know so far. Now, Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials say agents were attempting to stop a vehicle during a targeted operation.
Targeted operation. So, right. Okay.
To arrest a person who they say was in the country illegally. They say the driver of that vehicle was Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, who was a Mexican national. Surveillance video from a nearby business shows a white van traveling on Wayside. It then takes a left turn on Canal Street. 2 dark SUVs appear behind it. One passes the white van. The second stays behind it.
I'm sorry, man. 2 dark SUVs come rolling up on me, not showing badges.
Moments later, the white van makes a U-turn and pulls over alongside a business. One of the SUVs stops next to it. In a statement, ICE said the driver of that vehicle was Araujo and that he tried to evade arrest. They say that he rammed an ICE law enforcement vehicle, adding he refused to follow commands, and that the officer...
He rammed? Why aren't you showing me the video of the ramming? If you've got the car... The bullshit. I call bullshit. They all say they got rammed. Why? Every time they murder someone, they're like, we got rammed. They were trying to ram them.
And fire in self-defense. Now, this morning, we know that the victim's family and LULAC are both calling for an independent investigation, as well as the body cam.
Think they'll get it? You think they'll get an body cam? Think they'll get an independent investigation for this ICE murder? ICE is murdering people in the street again, everybody. You thought it wasn't, but it is. Right in Houston. right there in Houston.
Camera video to be released. Reporting live in Houston's East End, I'm Tracy Bragg, KHOU 11 News.
Trayson, thank you. Later this morning, the victim's family is expected to speak about this. The news conference set for 10:30 this morning, and we will have live team coverage on the KHOU 11 app. We'll stay on top of the developing story, bring you any new information as it comes in.
How many people are going to get killed? How many human beings are going to get murdered by ICE? Why is this okay? Target meeting, driving around looking for non-whites. I mean, seriously, that guy looks like he's a Mexican. Pull his ass over. He did a U-turn. He did a U-turn. Don't resist. Spoken like a true simp. Don't resist. Let them do what they want to you. Spread your cheeks. Spread your cheeks. Do what they say. Spread your cheeks. See what I mean? Joey Cush. Nazi. You gotta love the always got the Nazis. Gotta love them. Gotta love them. Let them do it.
Let's get to this breaking overnight. New developments in the Middle East. The U.S. launching strikes on Iran and limiting the sale of Iranian oil.
Let's get back to Megan Fee at the WKRN.com alert desk now to explain where things stand this morning. Megan.
Nikhil, Mark, the crossfire comes as President Donald Trump calls the ceasefire into question, but says he would allow talks to continue. The U.S. launched strikes early this morning in retaliation for what it said were Tehran's attacks on ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran hit back with strikes on Bahrain and Kuwait. Overnight at the NATO summit in Turkey, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said,
If this is Iran bombing the shit out of these little boats, I mean, pretty good.
as he thinks the U.S. strikes were absolutely necessary.
I expect allies today to reconfirm that Iran should never, ever get its hand on a nuclear capability. And secondly,
It's about the nukes, guys. It's about the nukes. Nothing to do with oil. Shut up about the oil.
that the principle, the freedom of navigation, so the Strait of Hormuz completely opening up again is a sine qua non, is crucial.
Is it totally okay if I come within 12 miles of your country with a giant ship? No, that's my sovereign ocean right there. You have to be 200 miles away from my country if you want to swim by it. But if you're in Iran, you can come within 12 miles because the Strait of Hormuz.
For all 32 allies.
Oil prices have surged this morning following President Trump's comments that the interim agreement with Iran is over, climbing over 6%. Tennessee is up 2 cents overnight, according to AAA. The average price of a gallon of regular sits at $3.40 in the volunteer state.
Damn, the volunteer state's at 340. The volunteer state. You should love Tennessee. The volunteer state. Why is Tennessee called the volunteer state? Why is Tennessee called the volunteer state? The citizens overwhelmingly answered the call to fight in early American conflicts like the War of 1812 and the Mexican-American War. During the War of 1812, thousands of Tennesseans enthusiastically enlisted in the militia under General Andrew Jackson, everyone's favorite president, unless, of course, you're Indian. This reputation was firmly cemented in the national consciousness in 1846 during the Mexican-American War, when the U.S. government asked Tennessee to provide 2,800 soldiers, and an overwhelming 30,000 Tennesseans showed up to volunteer to serve. All right, the volunteer state. There you go. The volunteer state, ready for war, but they're paying $3.40.
That's still down 35 cents over the past month. Remember, News 2 brings you breaking news around the clock at WKRN.com.
I mean, I think that's pretty interesting. I mean, the volunteer state, I don't know if you've ever thought about that before. Which state today provides the most military personnel? California has the highest number of active duty military personnel, with over 157,000 stationed across major installations like Camp Pendleton, Naval Base San Diego. But how do we know where they come from? I want to know where they come from, where they're stationed, rather than home of record. They don't tell you, because data from Defense Manpower Data Center tracks where troops are stationed rather than their home of record. These numbers heavily reflect the locations of massive coastal defense hubs. I want to know the state of origin of the people who are in the United States, who are in the United States military. What is the birthplace of most of the military? Let's see if they get that. See if AI can tell me. Who volunteers the most? Is Tennessee still the highest? In terms of raw numbers, it's California, Texas, and Florida. That's right. Adjusted for population, though, the American South, like Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida, over-index, because They are poor. They're twice as likely to enlist as someone from the Northeast like New York. Per capita, American Samoa and Guam have the highest rates because they do it so they can become citizens. Cool. Now I know. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. That's the show. I can't do guitar and stuff today because I have to pack, and I had no time to play guitar. I got a big day of packing. I have the mover coming to my house to tell me how much money he's going to take from me in order to move me to New Mexico. And I have to find out a way to give money to people in New Mexico by transferring funds to them. And I can't do it all and do all the stuff I want to do with you guys. But it is a long show. We still did a long, boy. It's 3 hours and 45 minutes right now. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. I thought we can end with a poem because we're at war. And I thought that maybe we should just, I like just, giving a nod to at least some humanity. We always talk about all the horrible things, but I like to remember that humanity, every once in a while, we still do some cool stuff with humanity, right? Humanity's still good, right? We still do some good stuff, don't we? Humanity, are we good sometimes? Sort of. Every once in a while? No? I think so. I like to think we are anyway. All right, anyway, so here it goes. There's a poem of the day by Amy Gerstler. It's called Bon Courage by Amy Gerstler. Why are the woods so alluring? A forest appears to a young girl one morning as she combs the dreams out of her hair. The trees rustle and whisper, shimmer and hiss. The forest opens and closes, a door loose on its hinges, banging in a strong wind. Everything in the dim kitchen, the basin, the jug, the skillet, the churn, snickers scornfully. In this way, a maiden is driven toward the dangers of a forest, but the forest is our subject, not this young girl. She's glad to lie down with trees towering all around. A certain euphoria sets in. She feels molecular, bedeviled, senses someone gently pulling her hair, tingles with kisses she won't receive for years. 3 felled trees, a sort of chorus, narrate her thoughts, or rather channel theirs through her, or rather subject her to their peculiar verbal restlessness, our deepening need for non-being intones. The largest and most decayed tree mid-sentence. I'm not one of you, squeaks the shattered sapling. Blackened by lightning, their words become metallic, spangles shivering the air. Will I forget the way home? The third blurts. Why do I feel like I'm hiding in a giant's nostril? The oldest prone pine wants to know. Are we being freed from matter? The sapling asks. Insects are well-intentioned, offers the third tree by way of consolation. Will it grow impossible to think a thought through to its end? Gasps the sapling, adding in a panicky voice, I'm becoming spongy. The girl feels her hand attached to some distant body. She rises to leave, relieved. These trees are not talking about her. That's nice. A fun little experimental poem from 2013. It says it was published. Amy Gerstler is a poet born in 1956. There she is with a little baby goat in that cute. Her poetry deals with themes such as redemption, suffering, and survival. Author of over a dozen poetry collections, 2 works of fiction, various articles, reviews, and collaborations with visual artists. Gerstler won the 1991 National Book Circuit Award, Critics Circle Award in poetry for Bitter Angel. And she looks like she won the National Book Award. She's done a bunch of cool stuff. She's a graduate of Pitzer College and Bennington College. Gerstler is taught at the Art Center College of Design at the University of Southern California and USC. She's at USC. I hate USC. And the Bennington Writing Seminars program. She lives in California with her husband, the artist and author Benjamin Weissman. Nice. I hope that you enjoyed a little bit of the humanities tonight. We do need to slow it down every once in a while and escape the Dromosphere and celebrate the fact that we are still human beings that are still capable of beautiful stuff and creation, not just destruction, but also creation. Go out and create something, would you? Thank you so much, the Sky City Rebels. Sky City Rebels get extra content, extra stuff, extra polls, extra streams, and extra love in the chat. Thank you so much, Sky City Rebels. You make the world go round for me. Thank you, moderators, for keeping things non-haram. What's the opposite of haram? Keeping things kosher in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you to everyone who liked and subscribed. If you didn't like and subscribe, you're banned. I'm going to ban you immediately for life. And illegitimate non-carborundum. Don't let the bastards grind you down, because I need you. We need each other. The animals need us most of all. And can we read Toni Morrison poetry? Yeah, sure, if you want. I mean, Toni Morrison. Sure. I've read some Toni Morrison. I like to read the poem of the day. I think the curators over there at the Poetry Foundation do a good job. Anyway, Godspeed, Rebels. I love you. Wish me luck. We're doing lots of crazy stuff, and we're going to do a lot more. You love the poetry closes. I usually keep it for the members only, but I don't have time to do the members only stuff's been hard for me to do right now because of all this extra stuff in my schedule for the move. I've got so much going on, and I'm not able to deliver as much as I'd like. But the members, Sky City Rebels, I still do we did a long members only on Sunday with Chip, and members only content still in the community section. But thank you. We'll do more. Moving to VA? No. Moving to New Mexico way. New Mexico. All right, have a great day, everybody. Thank you. And thank you for watching Morning Sky, the #1 news reaction show on YouTube. Like and subscribe. And if you're really cool, please go onto one of the videos, leave a comment. It could be anything, an emoji, doesn't matter. Just leave a comment on a video or a short. It helps a lot. The comments help push this channel to other people on YouTube. And I really appreciate any spare second that you can donate. A spare moment of your time would really go a long way for growing the channel and helping me. So thank you. Helping this community grow helps us, really. I hope helps America, helps the world. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so friggin' much.